What's up, Internet? You're tuning in episode 29 of Nintendo Noise, Flip Screen Games' weekly Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Pete and Bessie, joined, as always, by my very good friends and co-hosts, Mr. Steven Radford.
Hello, hello.
And Mr. Chuy Huerta.
Bye, goodbye.
Welcome back, gang. Ring Fit's over. We're down a co-host here this week now that Sierra is gone, but thankfully, we have somebody else joining us on this week's show, in spirit at least, and that is, of course, Mr. Mario Jumpman Mario. This week is, of course, Mario Day. By the time you're listening to this, if you're listening to this the day it dropped, it's the holiday right now. Happy Mario Day, everybody. You know, to all those who celebrate, of course. You know, if you celebrate Luigi Day, that's, you know, we respect that too, of course. Happy holidays. But, you know, of course, it being the annual holiday that celebrates Nintendo's mascot, Mario, you know, we thought what better opportunity than to have like a deep dive Mario discussion, which is something I don't think we've ever actually done on this show in nearly 30 episodes. I don't think we have a single episode that's all about Mario. So here you are. It's here. We're ready. So we're going to talk about... Go ahead.
I was going to say, did we do the hottest Mario character? But I think it was Nintendo.
We made it Nintendo character, yeah. Because I think on One More Thing, we talked about the hottest Mario character, and then we expanded it out to all Nintendo, you know. So even that, right? Like he got Nintendo carded, where it's like, all right, yeah, we're going to decentralize you on that one, so... But so for this episode, we're going to be able to talk about our history with the Mario franchises, the spin-offs, all that good stuff, our first Mario games. We'll be ranking our personal top 10s of each Mario, or our top 10s of Mario games, and then we're going to do kind of a combined weighted score. So we'll talk all about that later. But before that, let me remind you that this episode of the show is brought to you by our Patreon producers for the month of March. They are, of course, Christian Oliveria, Christopher Valenz, Gabriel Hasselmeyer, a.k.a. Sobi, Mary Berry, Smilky Shake, Wakahula, and Zaid Ida. Thank you all so much for your support over on patreon.com/flipscreengames. Y'all are the realest of the real, and we appreciate your support of this fine program. Speaking of which, there are a bunch of ways for you to show your support. If you want to be like those fine folks, and head over to the Patreon. There's a bunch of goodies and perks you can get for showing your support. At any level you support us, you'll get access to our Patreon exclusive podcast, One More Thing, where Steve and I talk about what's going on in our lives outside the world of video games. And sometimes we like rank candy bars and stuff. I don't know what the hell we do on that show, but it's a good time. It's well worth your listen. So go check it out, as well as a bunch of other cool perks and goodies you can get your hands on, including archives of our weekly Twitch streams every Wednesday and Thursday on twitch.tv/flipscreengames. Steve or myself or both of us and Chuy and other people, and it's a great time. You come there, you watch us play video games. It's fun. We got weird sound effects. You can take control of this stream. I made Steve speak in an American accent today, and it was hilarious. So, you know, go check it out, all right? We got a bunch of good content for you over there. But wherever you want to be a part of the show, if you want to write into the show, all that good stuff, head over to flipscreen.games. That's our website where you can get links to all of the places you can interact with us on the web. And I guess I'll remind this, since somebody asked about it, we have a P.O. box. So if you want to send us physical stuff, you could do that too. Drop us a line. Send us a postcard. We're getting sent candy, which is great. That's going to be really fun. So, yeah, I don't know. Send us something, I guess.
Have I got to wait till October to get my share of the candy?
Yeah, I mean, unless I send you
unless
I send you the candy package before then that we discussed doing, which, I mean, maybe that makes sense to do, but only in that scenario. Otherwise, you're waiting, and I'll just give it to you all at once.
Unless I eat it all myself when I go and visit.
Yeah, if it's too good at the end of March when Chuy visits, there's going to be none of this candy left.
Be like, oh, no, it didn't show up. I don't know, Steve. Sorry. Yeah, it never made it over. So, thanks again to everybody who shows your support. However you choose to show your support, we appreciate having you. Thanks for being a part of the Flip Screen Games community. Let's jump into this Mario nonsense. All right?
I get it. Jump. Because he's
the Jumpman. You get it. Yeah, right? Let's hop down this pipe and make our way to the Mushroom Kingdom, everybody. So I want to start, I guess, with our personal histories with the Mario franchise. And I want to start with Chuy because I don't know what yours is. So, like, how far back does your history with Mario go? Where do you rank Mario as you know, in the Nintendo pantheon of franchises for you?
say it goes basically back to the beginning for me. And I say basically because my first experiences were like NES or SNES, Super Mario Bros. Original game, you know? So my older siblings had those consoles and everything, so I just started out playing those. I'd be like, cool, can I go and play some Mario for a little bit? A little 3-year-old me going over, playing some video games. It was cool. So yeah, just started there. Definitely have played like Donkey Kong, both, the arcade versions and then whatever at-home versions of that have been in the games. Definitely the one that's in Animal Crossing on the GameCube. Always a fun way to revisit that game.
Absolutely.
And then, I was just watching a pretty awesome and interesting video. I think it's like Zach Doc Games or something, a big YouTube channel, but they were talking about how the original kind of code for the arcade Donkey Kong, was developed by not Nintendo, and there's all these lawsuits around it and stuff. But that code was actually the version of Donkey Kong that they used in Donkey Kong 64, and I was like, oh, cool! I've played like the original arcade version of this. You have to play way too much of Donkey Kong 64 to actually get to that point, though. So don't recommend doing that.
That'll have to be the next one that we get Steve to stream.
Yeah, definitely.
100% run on Donkey Kong 64.
Is it on the 64 thing yet?
Not yet. I don't think.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I'm waiting for it because I don't
even think it was in the announced list, though, was it?
It'll come eventually, though. I feel like that's
but who knows when? Like, they haven't even made through the announced list at this point. Like, God knows when that's going to come out. It'll probably be like next year at this rate.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could see it being like Earthbound, where we get it like a year or two or more later, where it's like, oh, yeah, sure, here you go. It's one of the big ones left.
One a month is not enough. Like 3 a month, at least. Come on. Yeah, definitely started with like the 2D Mario stuff, and then my first console was the N64, and I got 3 games when I first got it. I got Banjo-Kazooie, Diddy Kong Racing, and Super Mario 64, and I spent probably a vast majority of my N64 time on those 3 games, even though I got more beyond that. But those 3 games definitely just engrossed me. Yeah. 3D Mario, I love it. I have loved it from the moment I played Mario 64, even though I know both of you have revisited that with the 3D All-Stars, right? And
I defended it, I think that game still has a lot of merit.
I
don't. I think if you're going to play that game, play the DS version. It's just a lot better.
It's not the same.
You know what? It isn't the same, but I do appreciate that the DS version, like, there was always those rumors of like, at least when I was on the playground, like, oh, did you know you could play as Luigi on Mario 64? And I was like, how do you do that? How do you make it happen? And then they actually did make that happen with the DS version, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I played it a lot as Yoshi too. That was a fun one.
I still just played it all as Mario, but I had a good time with it, and the camera was fairly easy to control with the stylus. Or do you remember that weird thumb thing that you had?
Yeah.
It was like the strap, the wrist strap that also had that like thumb pad on that you were meant to put on your thumb and touch on the screen with. It was very weird.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. I kind of wish I still had that little strap thing. I forget where it went. But yeah, I guess 3D Mario, always a blast for sure. But then like, I also equally had as fun a time with like the spin-off Mario games. There were all the sports Mario games, all the Mario parties and things. Those were great. But as far as like where Mario stands for me with Nintendo stuff, I'd say it still ranks pretty high. I mean, ranks really high for me. I still buy. I was just looking at the sale for like on the Switch for all the Mario stuff, and I was like, oh, there's like 3 games on here that I haven't gotten that are Mario related, and one of them is a Yoshi game, that's on the sale regardless. The other one's the Mario and Sonic thing, and the only one that I really haven't gotten was the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. So
That
Did
game's
you play that
good.
on the Wii U though?
you know what? I didn't play it on the Wii U either. Like it'd be one that's still worth me picking up, I think, but I don't know. A lot of the 2D stuff really got replaced for me with like Mario Maker and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
and it really got overshadowed New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe because Mario Maker came out
yeah,
like 2 months afterwards. It was just like, why is there so much 2D Mario
And it's like
like
yeah.
jammed into this one section of the year?
as somebody who like really didn't love Super Mario Maker 2, I think you probably would have been better off buying Wii U Deluxe because that game or U Deluxe whatever. Because that game's good. Like I know that like
Yeah.
it's kind of like blasé at this point because there's like so many new Super Mario Brothers titles that like they
hmm
all kind of bleed together. But that was one of my favorite games on the Wii U.
Yeah. Yeah, and that one, I mean, I'd still like to pick it up because it looks solid. It looks like a fun. w- Does it have online play at all? Because that I think would
I
be
believe so.
better for
I
No.
it.
don't think so. No.
Yeah, that's the bummer. Because I think the most fun I had with like the new Super Mario series was definitely multiplayer and just the wackiness that ensues with that.
Yeah.
I got to experience that with the Wii, New Super Mario Brothers. Was that one just Wii?
It was just Wii. Yeah.
Yeah, that one, oh man, just
Apo-
throwing each other off the the ledge.
that was so much
It was
fun.
great.
So yeah, that's like one of the defining Wii experiences for me too. Just real quick, want to apologize to the video viewers if you just saw me shoot my document by real quick. I had to pull up my Mario list for later. So hopefully nobody got
Oh,
any.
spoilers!
No,
for
I don't think
everyone.
anybody got any spoilers. I think we're all good. All right, I think we're all good.
So yeah, I'd say that's my history with Mario. Very well loved game for me. Well loved, I guess, franchise for me.
And which one was your first one? Do you remember?
The first one was definitely Super Mario Bros.
Nice.
The original. Yeah.
Very nice. Steve, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so for me, most of my experience with Nintendo as a kid came from the handhelds. Game Boy Color was my first handheld that I owned myself, and then the GBA later. And then since then, I've owned every Nintendo handheld apart from the new 3DS, and I love them. So, having said that, the first game I ever owned on my Game Boy Color technically isn't a Mario game, but stars Mario. It's Alleyway, and he has a very, very cursory role where he runs on at the beginning and jumps into the little platform that you move, and it's basically a breakout clone. And that was the first ever Mario game that I had played, I think. Aside from that, the first like Mario platformer I ever played was 64. I was in and out of hospital quite a bit when I was a kid, and I remember in the hospital waiting room, they had like an N64 station with like a CRT in it that you could play, and we would just always run around like the Princess Castle or like the first level that Bob-ombs Run or whatever it's called, and had no idea what we were meant to be doing. And it was just so much fun to like take your mind off of the fact that you're about to go see the doctor because you're not very well or whatever. So I loved that, and I guess it's really the rest of my experience with it comes from GameCube onwards because we didn't have an N64 at home. We were like a PlayStation household, but we started getting the Nintendo consoles as well. We got GameCube, a Wii. And so we would pick up all the mainline Mario games for those, like 64 and like Sunshine and Galaxy and things like that, which was great. But the majority of my experience with Mario games comes from like the spin-offs, like Mario Party. 100% is where the majority of my family's like shared video game time went when we were kids. We would plug in the GameCube on a weekend and we would just play for like hours. And it was just so much fun to be able to play with my mum, my dad, my brother, my sister. It was great. Like we had such a good time with it. And we like collected all of them, like the ones with the microphone, like all of the weird gimmicks that each one had. It was so much fun. So Mario has a real special place in my heart. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the 2D platformer genre, but I can respect that Mario is probably the gold standard and the pinnacle of 2D platformers, and still is to this day. And I think the video game industry as a whole owes a lot to him.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And you think about like the NES and what that meant for kind of post the video game bubble burst that happened in the States. Mario is, I wouldn't say single-handedly, but I mean, damn near close responsible for that kind of return to grace that we saw, with an assist from Rob on that one for tricking Toys R Us into carrying Nintendo's. But yeah, I mean, of course.
It's so weird, like, how different the histories are between America and Europe, though. Like, that just didn't happen here.
Yeah.
The NES wasn't huge at all in the UK. We were very much in the, computer game space rather than video games.
Yeah.
We had, little mini PCs, which
Commodore
had, keyboards
64.
built in. The Commodore 64, the ZX Spectrum. They would, plug into your computer. You'd load games from cassette tapes and things, like little homebrew things that you would make. There was no real interest in the NES and stuff. I think it was really
that stuff existed here, but it was very niche,
Yeah.
Whereas NES, Mario, it's ubiquitous, right, with video games. With some other competitors over there as well. So for my personal history, I've told this story on content before, so I'll try to keep it brief if you've heard it before. But for newer listeners or folks who might not have heard this story, Mario was actually the first game I ever played, or at least the game that I remember playing first, right? Whether or not I ever saw a video game before that age, sure, but. And my mother, when I was a kid, did freelance seamstress stuff and interior design, and she had this client who she was reupholstering a bunch of furniture for, and she made a set of drapes, and there was all this stuff she was doing. So it was for a whole summer when I was 3 or 4 years old. I was at this house almost every day, and or at least for a week or two. Lord knows how long it actually was versus how long I remember it feeling like as a child, But she had two teenage age sons that had a really, really impressive video game collection. And I was kind of sent up to go sit in their room and, hang out there and not bother the adults while work was going on. And they sat me down in front of the Super Nintendo and popped on Super Mario World. And that was the first time I had ever played a video game. And it really, really struck a chord with me, and remains and you'll have to see where on the list later, but remains among my favorite Mario titles. One of my favorite.
I'm surprised it made it to the list with how much you had to cut from your.
It was hard. This was tough. It was really hard for me to narrow it down to 10. And yeah, I mean, ever since then, Mario's been a staple, I would say, in my gaming appetite. I've definitely ebbed and flowed in terms of there were years where I was less engaged with Nintendo overall. But all of the mainline Mario games, I've at least played and enjoyed. But yeah, there's a few Mario games that I would say are in contention for my favorite game of all time. And, the platforming genre, specifically 2D stuff, has always been a favorite of mine. And I think Mario is a huge part of that. During the Game Boy and then the Game Boy Advance era, Nintendo did a really good job of leveraging those games and re-releasing them with the Mario Deluxe series, and then they did the Mario Advance on GBA, and a lot of those games, that were
the NES remix things that they did. They did the black and red box that they did with the original.
Yeah,
Super
where they
Mario
would
Brothers
re-release those games.
cool.
But the Deluxe and the Advanced ones, they did they were basically remasters. They had new features, and they changed gameplay things and added sound effects and all these things that weren't in the originals. And some of those changes are good, some of them are not. But notably on the Game Boy Advance stuff, the soundtracks are worse because the Game Boy Advance had a terrible sound chip compared to any other retro console of that era or earlier. Which is
it also had the world's worst speaker, so
yeah,
if people weren't using headphones, it probably didn't really matter.
It sounded like garbage, yeah, pretty much no matter what. Which is a shame because the Game Boy sounds amazing, right? People still use that for music creation now. but nobody's using the Game Boy Advance. So those games were all classics by the time I got my hands on them. But to me, like I didn't know that, right? Like when I was playing video games until I was, until I started like reading magazines and getting interested in like games press and understanding more of the stories behind games. It was like, a game was a game, right? And like to me, it might as well have been the newest, hottest release, right? And a lot of those games were some of my most played games on the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. So yeah, it was definitely a really formative part of I think developing my appetites as a gamer. 'Cause, even to today, those are some of my favorite genres. And, I think, you said it before, right, Steve? I think Mario is the gold standard when it comes to platforming, whether it's 2D or 3D. And I think, most other games, are always going to draw comparisons to Mario because for so many people, it's the first thing, it's foundational. But I also think that, like, in terms of just pure game feel, it's one of the best feeling platformers too. And I think there's a reason why it was also, the first, but I think it set a standard that a lot of people emulate, right? And even other games that have their own innovations, like you think of something like, like DuckTales or something like that added like the bounce and things like that, right? You have so many games that took what Mario did and then tried to make their own spin on it, but all of those games have that DNA, right? And owe that back to Mario. Yeah, I mean, for me, Mario is like, probably gun to my head, I'd say it's probably in my top 3 Nintendo franchises, maybe top 5, but I mean, it's up there. It's right up there, especially if you're including spin-offs, right? Like there's just so much variety there. And when we get to our lists, right, like so many of the games that I picked, I have like very specific like core memories about those games and what they meant to me at that time, or sharing them with somebody who's special to me or something like that, So, yeah, definitely foundational to say the least. So we got a couple questions here about Mario stuff from the community. We're going to jump into the question block. Oh, and wouldn't you know that, the question block named after a Mario item, of course, right? You can see the drippings all over this fine program.
Although I think they officially call that the question mark block now, and I just don't like that.
Yeah, that doesn't have as good of, I mean, we all know what we're talking about when we say the question mark, right? Like, the kids know. They get it. So we got two pieces of mail here that I want to address with some good questions. This first one comes from one of our Patreon producers, Mr. Zaid Ida, who wrote in and said, do you think we'll see Mario Odyssey 2 or another mainline Mario game get announced in 2022? If it is an Odyssey 2, what do you expect to be different from its predecessor? I don't know. I think the idea of getting a Mario Odyssey 2 at this point feels late.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I thought we weren't going to get another Pokemon, and they were just like, here you go, here's the next one, here's Gen 9, and I have no idea what their plan is at this point, but I don't know. If Breath of the Wild 2 is coming, which I don't think it is now that Pokemon's been announced, it's just going to be a really heavy back end, especially with Splatoon 3.
I mean, it doesn't have to come out this year to get announced, though, right? Like,
I don't think they announce with a long distance anymore. It really feels like they're shortening to 6 months maximum. So maybe it gets announced as like in the November Nintendo Direct for next year. Well, I don't know.
I mean, there are a few games that have been like, have about a year announcement time. I think Splatoon 2 or Splatoon 3, right, was announced last year, kind of early on, and we haven't seen too much from it. But I think as far as it being like Odyssey 2 or so, I think they're gonna go in a different direction with this one. And it's mostly because of the stuff we saw from Bowser's Fury. I think they're messing with ideas to kind of keep from having a level select screen, I think they're kind of avoiding that type of interface as far as us traveling from world to world, like we saw in Mario Odyssey. and for me, I felt like Mario Odyssey, that idea made sense, where it's like, oh, you have this ship, it's called the Odyssey, it's taking you from place to place. That idea felt built into like, oh yeah, this is our level select kind of thing. But Bowser's Fury just changed it for me, where I was like, I think we're gonna just get something that's really open for Mario, whatever the next thing is. Zelda already saw so much success with that. They're going that direction with a lot of things, to the extent where I'm like, Kirby feels like the next like 3D world to me, as far as that one goes. So,
But is Kirby open world? Do we know that yet? Can you go from zone to zone, or is
I don't
there a level
believe
select
so.
screen
I
on
believe
that?
it's level based.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more level based, and I don't know if their overworld is going to work quite like
Yeah, because
Super
we have the
Mario
town
World,
that's
the
like a
3D
hub,
world.
right? So I would
Yeah,
imagine
yeah,
that's your hub world, and then you go
So
to
it's like Galaxy or Mario 64's hub, and you go to like
yeah, yeah,
areas in there, and you go to the worlds.
yeah. That's what I would guess based on what we've seen. It's interesting
yeah.
that you say that, Chewy, because I don't think I don't know I think you could be right there, but it's funny because when we saw Bowser's Fury, I had the thought that would be like a new kind of Mario game, not that it would necessarily be the next 3D Mario game in the way that like, Odyssey is, right? Because it's interesting, right? Because you think of like I think of like Galaxy and Galaxy 2 as being like they're 3D Mario games, but they're 3D level clear Mario games, which are different than like open world 3D Mario games like 64 and Sunshine and Odyssey and
Do you consider them open world? Because obviously,
quote unquote,
open
right?
world, I mean, yeah, because I could see them going true open world. We're about to get a true open world Sonic game. They're doing open world
Theoretically.
Pokemon. Well, yeah, theoretically. I mean, they've announced a fully open world Sonic game, so
Did they
I think
use
we
those
can.
words?
I believe they use the words open world. I mean, forget Sonic, but Pokemon, for example, is definitely using the words open world. It keeps coming up in my Twitter timeline almost on a daily basis at this point. I could really see Nintendo going in deep on it, and you go from, rather than it being like a level select screen like Chewy said, you just walk to the next area, or maybe you get on a boat to the next area, and you can see yourself navigating the world without having to go to a screen to do it. I mean, something I always liked about those earlier 3D Mario games was the fact that the level select was like built into the game. Like you would go and you would run and jump through a picture frame, and then you were in that new world, and I thought it was so cool. I actually really liked that in Psychonauts 2 as well. Like you can put a doorway down and you go into like a different area. And if you could have the speed quick enough where you like opened a door and you walk through, and there's like no loading screen or anything, and you're in like a whole new area now. I mean, maybe this is something we need like new Switch hardware for. But you like open the door and you're like, now you're in another kingdom, you're in another world, and like you go through another door and you're in a whole different area again. It could be really cool if they could do something like that. But I don't think they call it Odyssey 2. If we have another a sequel announced, I think it's Super Mario and something else. I don't think they're gonna go with a sequel on this one.
So, two things I wanted to talk about with the Odyssey thing. So, just to give context, the original game was teased in the Switch console announcement in 2016. We got a full look at it. And then in January 2017, they did a presentation where they showed it again. And then we got it at E3 that year, and then it came out in October that year. So, like, tight timeline, but, like, we had seen it over a year before it came out. So, I think... to answer the question, I think if
they are getting they're getting a lot more strict with themselves, I think, since the Metroid Prime situation. We still haven't got the Breath of the Wild 2 name, and it's coming out this year,
right,
allegedly.
But it's not, right? Like, I don't think it is. But, I mean, maybe. But either way, that game was announced how long ago? 2 years?
Like a year ago?
No, wasn't it
a year and a half, maybe?
No, it was announced before 2020, wasn't it?
No way it was before 2020.
Didn't Pixelpar do that whole video breakdown in, like, 2019? Look it up, Chewy, please. I see you typing.
I'm looking.
So anyway,
but that was like an announcement of a sequel to a game that everyone was like really hyped for. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe they do just do a teaser. It's an announcement like we're working, or maybe it's just like a thing like they did with that, and it's just like the sequel to Breath of the Wild is now in production. They just did like a sequel to Mario Odyssey.
It was June 2019.
There we go.
When it was
wow,
first
so a long time.
Yeah, and like, you know, obviously there are the realities of like COVID shutting down production for how long, we don't know. Like, we have no idea how and why the roadmap for that game has changed. But the reason I bring that up is I think that if there was a Mario Odyssey 2 in development, that we would probably know it was in development at this point. But that said, that's not necessarily a 1-to-1, right? Because they could just as easily announce it later this year and it comes out next year, or announce it next year and it comes out a year later, something like that. Who knows? But I think if we get one is entirely dependent on what hardware it shows up on. Because if it's a Switch game, I think it's Mario Odyssey 2. But if they're developing the next Mario with like the Switch 2 in mind, then I could see them breaking and being like, okay, we're going to do whatever the next Mario game is, because that's pretty much the only time that they do that, right? Like, we had Galaxy 2, and they're effectively, you know, the same game, same engine kind of structure, but 2 has a bunch of new ideas and new bells and whistles and different framing devices and blah, 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 blah. So if they had enough ideas left on the cutting room floor for Odyssey that they're like, let's make an Odyssey 2, and it's the same framework, you have Cappy, it's, you know, that kind of thing, but it's just a whole new set of worlds, then, you know, I think that isn't crazy. That's not outside the realm of possibility. Odyssey is one of the best-selling games Nintendo's ever made. It's the most critically acclaimed Mario game. The idea of wanting to follow that up in the same way they're following up Breath of the Wild makes a lot of sense, but Nintendo makes decisions that don't make sense all the time. So the idea of them being like, nah, that's cool. We're going to do something new for the next one. And like Chuy said, maybe move in a dramatic new direction, or, you know, establish a new art style, any of those kinds of things, right? I think that's just as much on the table. In terms of like what we could see in an Odyssey 2 that would be different, I think it would be similar to like what we saw with Galaxy to Galaxy 2, where it would just be like new worlds with new gimmicks, and maybe they add like Yoshi or some other thing that's like, here's the new thing you can do, but I think beyond that, it's more or less the same game, you know?
Mm-hmm. And what if it's, rather than Odyssey 2, they just do a DLC, like all these years later, like they're doing with Mario Kart 8, and that then goes on to the expansion pack? Is another reason for you to pick that up. And
that could also be why you hadn't heard about it, right? Because they wouldn't announce and promote that the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Yeah. And after the Mario Kart 8 deluxe stuff, I'm just like, well, it could honestly drop
anything can happen.
Who even knows?
Literally anything. Yeah, so for what it's worth, I'd love to see a Mario Odyssey 2. I'd definitely be down.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when it comes to Mario, like, I think ultimately I feel like less is more, because I don't want to end up in a new Super Mario Bros. Situation where it's like, another one of these, okay. You know, it's like, I think that's the big thing that Mario's been missing lately, is like innovation, and seeing like how much they did with Odyssey and like what they're trying to do with Bowser's Fury. I'm more excited for them to do new things than to like rehash the Odyssey thing again, but Odyssey fucking rules, so nobody would be disappointed about a sequel to that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So moving into this next one, this one comes from another one of our Patreon supporters, Mr. Trendy Brendy, who wrote in and said, what ideas do you have for Mario spin-offs? As much as I'd love for the return of Mario and Luigi, I think it's time for a Mario take on the V-Pet/gardening sim. Let me feed a garden of piranha plants and decorate my little greenhouse in an Animal Crossing light experience. Maybe it could be like Sonic Adventure's Chow Garden, and you can unlock unique piranha plant colors/variations like the spiky ones through breeding and diet. That'd be so cool.
Honestly, that needs to be on mobile if it's the Chow Garden thing, because that was the best thing about the Dreamcast, was you could take your VMU out and you would have your little Tamagotchi with you and you could take it everywhere. And I know on the GameCube you could plug in, and if you had like the
Sonic Advance,
Game Boy Advance,
and you could move it
you
over,
would plug
back
it in,
forth.
and you could take it with you, and they go back and forth, and it was really, really cool. I could definitely see something like that. In terms of ideas for spin-off, because I put this document together and I saw Brandy's question, and I was just like, I cannot think of a genre that they haven't targeted with Mario at this point. I was like,
shooter, but that turned into Splatoon, right? Like they were doing that, and then they made Splatoon. So,
but even still, they gave Mario a gun in Mario Rabbids, so like he's had weapons.
It's not a shooter though, right?
That was the strategy game that they had, and like they've had puzzle games with Picross and with Dr. Mario. We've had drawing games. They've done
RPGs,
rhythm games.
Right, we have Mario RPG, the Mario and Luigi series, Paper Mario. Yeah. Obviously, we have Smash Brothers. We have the fighting game.
Basically, every sport you can think of.
Pretty much.
They've done one.
Right? Like, not
maybe
hockey?
We haven't had Mario, but Mario Baseball.
I don't think there's a Mario Hockey, is there?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Does he play hockey at the Winter Olympic Games, though?
Probably.
Because if he's doing
it... a mini game in Mario Party that's hockey.
There is, yeah. So he's played hockey somewhere. Like, this guy's done everything.
Hockey might be in the Mario sports mix, too. That might also be a thing.
There's just nothing he can't do, which is just phenomenal, really, when you think about it. So I really struggled to come up with any ideas for a new Mario spin-off.
I don't have an idea for a new spin-off, but like I said, I really want them to make a new version of Mario Hoops. I really need.
I hope that's on your top 10 list, Pete.
I've never played it. I've never played it.
Mario Hoops 3-on-3.
I debated putting NBA Street Volume 2, the GameCube edition, on my list as a bit, just because you can play as Mario, Luigi, and Peach in that, and it's hilarious. But yeah, I really want a good arcade basketball game, and I feel like Mario could definitely do that. I think aside from that, though, it's like, I don't know, dude. Yeah, like I feel like we've checked pretty much every damn box there is, you know?
Yeah. I think the other direction, because we have spin-offs that are like of the Mario universe, you know, all of your Wario games, all your kind of Donkey Kong, I guess,
Yoshi.
Is a bit a part of it. Yoshi, too. I think...
Waluigi never got a game, though. I don't think he's ever had his own game.
No, he hasn't.
That's true.
It's like, it's time, I feel like. You know, that I bet that game would sell a ton just for the meme of it, right? Like, people would rush out to be like, see, Waluigi's relevant, guys.
Yeah.
His own fighting game.
I think the most interesting thing... Actually, there's two that I really like. One of them kind of happened, and that is in the remakes of the Mario and Luigi games. You get kind of like the minions, the Bowser's minions types of things, and they do kind of like I forget, it's kind of like a tower defense-y type of game for that. That's just like a side thing on those 3DS remakes, right?
That's a good idea, though. I guess is the Mario versus Donkey Kong stuff tower defense? I've never played those.
They're kind of more like puzzle oriented. Okay. Yeah.
Tower defense would make sense though. That's an easy one.
Yeah. And then the other one, I remember there was like a huge leak of what Retro Studios had been like working on and then got canceled. And one of them was there was really cool artwork for it, but a Boo game that they had in the works, like all around Boo and that sort of thing. And I was just like, this looks incredible. What is going on with this studio that is getting everything canceled? Every single thing that they're working on. What are they even making at this point outside of Metroid Prime 4? Who knows? But yeah, that was just a really cool, interesting idea. But I don't know. I feel like there's characters that they can explore more of. Peach still has the one game, right? Super Princess Peach. And yeah, I think if there's more Mario spin-offs, it'd be better off like doing a different character and they can do some different takes on that. But a Boo game would have been cool. I would have loved that.
I feel like the moment's probably passed, but I could see a Mario MOBA working as well. You've got a lot of character options, right? And like obviously the iconography and everything. But I think the other thing that came to mind for me was like maybe some kind of like sim, you know, like a tycoon, like 2 Point Hospital, something like that. Like,
what if Mario's running a plumbing company? You've got to go out and you've got to attend to all of these issues, and like the drains are clogged, and it's like Goombas just like packing it up full of crap or whatever. I can see that working. Yeah.
Also, what you could do if you wanted to get like cheeky with it, like in universe, is you could make that a Wario series because he's like so obsessed with money, and it's like Wario comes and like hostilely takes over the Mario Brothers plumbing company because they haven't been in Brooklyn for 45 years because they're out in the Mushroom Kingdom or whatever. I don't know, something silly like that. I think that could be fun.
No, I would love that. I love those kind of games. I'm really looking forward to 2 Point Campus when that comes out.
I would really like them to do another game where Wario's a bad guy. Like I feel like they haven't like had him and Mario like be rivals since like the Game Boy. It's been like forever, and I feel like
he's been too busy with WarioWare, and he needs to get out of that and go do some other stuff.
That's
like,
the thing. He can still have that, right? Like he can still be a lead character in his own series. Like like Yoshi has his own series, but he still shows up as a Mario item sometimes. Like that's cool.
Yeah, and like seriously, we need another Wario Land or another Wario World. It's all I want from life, and we've just never got it. It's the best game on the Game Boy Advance. It really is.
All right. So last up, we wanted to just give a bit of a PSA here before we get into our personal rankings of Mario titles, which is just that there is a big old Mario 10. It's Mario March 10th, right? Mario Day. It's a Mario Day sale on the US eShop. Is there one in Europe as well?
Not been announced yet, but usually there is.
So
I would imagine by the time this goes out, it will be live. So check the eShop.
There are a number of games that are on sale. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is knocked down to $40. If you somehow don't have that game already, maybe a good opportunity to grab it before the DLC drops. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury, $40, one of our favorite games of last year. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, I just said before, great game. I might actually pick that one up because I would like to replay that at some point. Luigi's Mansion 3, which I've still not played, $40, might be the time. You can get the multiplayer pack. You can get it bundled for $46, or you can get it individually for $7 if you already own the game and hadn't done the multiplayer stuff.
Just buy the main game if you haven't played it. Just play through that. Like the multiplayer's okay, but it's just like
the multiplayer is good.
But who's playing that now?
Yeah, that's true. But once you get it, we'll have to take some time to actually play through the multiplayer.
Okay, fair enough.
There are free modes on it too, so you don't have to buy the extra stuff. Yeah.
So then we've also got Yoshi's Crafted World, $40, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle for a cool $10. That game slaps. If you like tactical RPGs like I do,
you can really tell which one's the non-Nintendo published game on this list, can't you? It's just insane.
Yeah.
And then Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 is also $41.99. So if you want to go check that out, feel free to waste your money on that game. So let's jump into our talking point here for the week, which is, of course, our top 10 Mario games of all time. So if you've never caught one of our lists, right, like this, here's the new status quo for these bad boys. What we're going to do is each of us is going to list our top 10 from 10 to 1. We'll go like round robin style. Everybody will do their 10. We'll all do our 9 and so on. And each one of those placements is going to be afforded a point value. So if you're the number 10 game on someone's list, you get 1 point. If you're the number 1 game on someone's list, you get 10 points. And, so on. So what we'll do once we've all made our individual lists is we'll go through and we'll tally up the points and make a final combined top 10, which will stand as the official Nintendo Noise top 10 Mario games of all time. Boy, am I concerned. Okay. So we're just gonna get into this. We're gonna roll right into it here. I'm gonna start with my number 10. It's a game we talked about earlier today. It is New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So for my money, this is my favorite of the New Super Mario Bros. Titles. I think I might argue even that the U game is better, but I think this one was really like where New Super Mario Bros. Identified what it could do that was unique, right? Because we had the DS entries that were effectively just, hey, it's a new 2D Mario game. Isn't that a novel thing in 2006 or whatever? Which was great. But the new Super Mario Bros. Wii, I think everybody remembers for being like the least cooperative co-op game of all time, right? Where you could pick each other up and throw people off the level. You could pop the bubbles and like try to kill your friends. And it was more of a race to get to the end of the level than it was let's cooperate and get through a level. And
it's not the one where you could go absolutely giant and just stomp on everyone and like kick them off.
I don't remember if that power up is in this game, but in the original New Super Mario Brothers, that was a thing. I don't think it was in this one because I don't know how that would work with 4 players, And this one, they really, really emphasize the multiplayer element of it. And this is like I said earlier, every one of the games on my list, I have either like a strong memory associated with it personally or like with other people. And this is a game that like I have a lot of fond memories of playing when it came out. And like I remember I remember my friends had gotten it, and we had a bunch of us hang out in their living room, and we were playing it for the first time, and we were all being just complete monsters to each other, like trying to toss each other, kill each other, and whatever, and like forming alliances and bullying one other person and stuff like that. And then the contrast to that was me playing this game with my my ex-girlfriend, who we were just trying to play it together and be like, let's cooperate. And it was just so fucking hard to like play a platformer with 2 people and be like, okay, I made it. Now you jump. Okay, now let's both jump. And like just that whole, like the total polar opposites of those experiences of trying to work against your teammates or trying to play with them, and how it was just both very memorable, like fun, experiences with just a lot of good times and really like, I think nailing the whole couch co-op thing that Nintendo does so well, Made a lot of memories with that one.
Yeah, definitely a great one, because it's like, it feels a lot more like a party game than anything else. I remember I just had a bunch of friends over, we were playing it, and the only way we got like actively further in the game was if like everybody died and just one person happened to survive and was just like, I'm gonna ignore all of you, I'm speeding through this.
Not popping your damn bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. And if they did, it was like you were gonna die as soon as your bubble was popped. But yeah, just the chaos that happens whenever you play that game it's perfect, honestly. It's what I wish they would have been able to pull off with Super Mario Maker 2's online, but the online just didn't work well, so yeah.
Neither did 3D Worlds. Like, we just had to bubble up.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't bubble up, you were just going on the floor. It was so bad.
It was funny, though.
Oh,
True.
It was funny for a moment, yeah, but there's no way I could play that game if I really seriously wanted to complete that game with other people online. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. If you're not doing it for content, just play it at home. All right, Steve, number 10.
So this is a game I don't think is going to be on either of your lists. I will be shocked if it is.
I feel like I have a few games that will not be on either of your lists, so no worries.
So this is Super Mario Run. I actually really enjoyed this game.
What? I've never met a person who enjoyed this game.
I feel like Nintendo didn't give it enough of a chance. They put such a huge price tag on it for a mobile game with the $10 upfront cost. I feel like if they approached the Mario platformer on a mobile phone again, they would do it totally differently, in the same way that they've done Mario Kart Tour differently, the Fire Emblem mobile game differently. You make it free, you add the in-app purchases, and you make it so it's playable for free, and you can play everything for free. But it was great. I had such a good time with it. It just continues to run, and you tap, and you could like play as different characters and get to different areas and collect all the coins as you went through. I think I 100%ed it. I loved it. I thought it was great, and it was nice to see Nintendo branching out onto other platforms other than their own and do something on mobile.
Does it still cost the same amount? Is it still $10?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. But you know what? I kind of think if you ask Miyamoto today, he'd still want to charge money for whatever Mario mobile game they make.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think there's any way that they'll ever do like a freemium model
I
for
just feel like
Mario.
$5 would be such a better, like that's so much easier to swallow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sell level packs rather than doing like the whole thing for $10.
Yeah.
Do them as like $1.99 a piece. And you like buy the pack as you play more. You're just like, oh yeah, I'll carry on playing a little bit more. And then they could have just carried on adding levels and different characters and new things. Because it was so cool when you would complete the level, it would give you items and you could put them out in the garden area and like build up and make it look like what you wanted. I ended up collecting a ton of platinum points through this game as well, which was awesome because you could spend those on like physical rewards and things, which was great. This and Mitomo, like it took up a whole summer of mine on my phone. Like that's all I played on my phone the years they were out.
My little icon that you see everywhere, that I made in Mitomo.
Oh, that's awesome. I loved Mitomo so much. It was so funny. Like you just go over to someone's room. It's just like such and such has come for a visit. And it's just like you pick the most ridiculous sounding voice, which just sounded like you were talking in Animal Crossing speak.
All right, Chewy, number 10.
All right, number 10. This one, honestly, I would put it higher up if it were still around. Mario 35.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
the Versus Mario game, original Super Mario Bros. Levels here, and you just try to outlive everybody as long as possible. Biggest regret, never actually playing long enough to try to get first. I got third a couple times. I think I may have gotten second once, but I was like never able to get first. It just got way too chaotic, too many things going on. But Mario 35, it's your Tetris 99 of the Mario world. It's I miss it.
My biggest
It was
regret
so
is
good.
never playing this game. I never tried it.
Oh, I
Man.
tried it like twice, and I was too hard for me because I'm not very good at Mario platformers anyway. And you had everyone just chucking Goombas your way. It's just like, nah.
That's true.
I wanted to
That's
get into
true.
it. I forget. There must have been some other game that was out at the time that was like that
Probably
took
Mario 3D All Stars.
I think
maybe.
so. Yeah, I think. I mean, there was so much Mario during that time.
Yeah,
so.
whatever it was, right? Like there was other stuff competing for my attention, and I just never got around to it. And I was like, I'll play it later. I'll play it later. And then it was like, oh, it's leaving in a week, and I was like, well, what am I gonna start playing it now and then love it and then miss it forever? Like I guess I missed the boat on this one.
Yeah, it was solid. There were even like little secrets where if you got yourself up to, I think it was like level 100 or something, but you could unlock playing as Luigi. So you got the green sprite instead and could play as that. But
Nice.
yeah, I miss it. I'm sad it's gone. I don't know why they decided it would be a good idea to just get rid of it after, only not even a year, I think, right? It was around what, like
It's like
7 months?
9 months, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
just barely a year and not quite.
So that's my number 10. Just because it's like the few Mario games that worked well online. It was actually solid. I'm sad about that.
So, okay. This whole thing is like such I hate making like lists like this because I'm always like, but this game, and like I always end up, I'm like, oh, years later, it's like I should have said this or whatever, right? So,
It really doesn't matter because when I come in and I say stupid things like Super Mario Run and just destroy
it doesn't even matter.
main
I'm like,
list,
I'm like sweating over this, and you're like,
Yeah.
whatever, the fucking mobile game, yeah, that's one of the top 10 best Mario games. All right, Jesus Christ. So for my number 9, so the reason I say this is that I feel like this list could change. Numbers could move around on any given day. This is what I ended up with today, right? So for number 9, I have Paper Mario, the original. So this game is one that really left an impression on me when it came out. I remember being very kind of confused by it a little bit even because it was like, whoa, what? Like it's a Mario RPG and like there's all this dialogue and all of these, like enemy types that I've fought for so many years are like allies now, right? Like your party mates are like all different Mario enemy types and stuff like that. And I just remember finding it to be really, really charming, you know, and like loving the dialogue, thinking the story was funny, and like I really, you know, with Pokemon being kind of like the game, that was my first favorite game, and you know, that really like got me foot deep into video, or I guess knee deep into video games rather than just having tried them, right? I've always loved RPGs, but that was one of the earlier experiences I had with RPGs that weren't Pokemon, you know, prior to me getting into like, you know, your Final Fantasies and some of the other more traditional like, kind of big boy RPGs. Paper Mario was like a really good kind of middle ground between those two things, right? Where it was like, I think young, new player friendly, but it wasn't, it also wasn't like brain dead simple. And I remember some of the fights being like kind of difficult and, you know, having to like really think things out, use the right items, that kind of stuff. And this was one that the copy that I still have actually was my best friend growing up. Jimmy, he and I played it like the summer it came out at his house because I didn't have an N64 at that point yet. I don't think I got an N64 late in the game. Like I think I got it like maybe a year or two before the GameCube. So that was like a game I remember playing. I'd go to his house like every day and sleep over, and we played it like for a week or two until we finally beat it. And then I remember he gave me.
You were like, sorry, I'm not here to spend time with you. You can go. I'm just here for Paper Mario.
Well, no, like I was, you know, he was playing. We'd pass the controller back and forth, and that whole experience. And then he gave me the copy when we were teenagers so that I could replay it again, and I still have it. So yeah,
that's how Chuy got his all of his handheld consoles. So
yeah,
it's all good.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, so shout out to Paper Mario. That's a game that I remember very fondly from my youth, and it's one I haven't played in a really long time. It's like I thought about that with a couple of these games where I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind going back and replaying that, right? And of course it's available for me now. So
I was gonna say, is it out? It's
I believe
out
it was one of the launch ones, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was like the first
the first one
that
they
they put up. Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, I could do it now. So that's like, there's like, I have a list of games that I'm like, I would like to replay this on stream, and it's like 50 games long at this point, and it's just like,
and also I swear you committed to playing Earthbound on stream like 3 weeks
ago.
Oh,
I'm doing that. Don't get me wrong, that's happening. So, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll get there. We'll get there one day. Just got to keep making content, right? You just got to keep doing stuff, and then eventually you'll do it all. So yeah, Paper Mario, shout out.
Yeah, I feel like my number 9's gonna upset a lot of people, especially Pete.
You're already upsetting me. Your number 10 already upset me.
Yeah, well, number 9 is Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2 specifically.
That doesn't upset me.
Why? Because it's quite low down the list.
Oh, I mean, it should be higher, but like,
higher.
I'm glad you at least have it on your list because you're a damn heathen. Was this the only 2D Mario game on your list?
This is the only, sort of. I've got like one of the newer ones, but like of the classics, this is the only 2D one I've got on the list.
I mean, if you're only gonna pick one, okay, that's cool. I respect that. I guess
it's the only one I had when I was a kid on my Game Boys.
Yeah,
it was the only one. So it's the only one I have nostalgia for, and it was a great one. Like the music's in everyone's head. Like you can just know exactly what the world won. It's just so good. It's incredible. Never finished it though. I find these games so hard.
Oh my god!
I mean, it's so hard. It's a very difficult game.
Like you beat Metroid Fusion. I'm sure that's harder.
I beat Metroid Fusion with an insane amount of save states. I could maybe beat Super Mario World with the same number of save states. I find them infuriatingly difficult.
That's so funny. I beat that game like in a day, like just for fun.
Yeah, I just never have. I never have beaten it. I don't think I ever will. But it's a good game nonetheless.
Stream it. There we go. Yes.
Well, the next game that apparently people want to see us stream, Pete, is that Vroom Vroom game or whatever it was on Nintendo Switch.
The fuck?
That like Witch Night Sky one.
Yes, that one that's like rated like 1 star on Nintendo Switch, and you can complete in an hour and a half.
I don't want to do that.
Truly
That sounds
awful.
terrible. Why would people want that?
Because I think people just want to laugh at how bad the game is.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Because
all that,
it's
Gavin.
terrible.
I don't know about all that. Well, anyway. So, anything else you want to say about that one, Steve? That's all you got?
No, that's all I got. To be honest, I can't even remember where I got to in this game. I think my cartridge is in the box of stuff I pulled back from my parents that I still haven't gone through.
Steve's gonna pop it in, and it's like he's like on the first world.
Yeah, probably. I probably never made it onto like World 2-1 or whatever. It's just I'm still there on that first island because I've had
There are
to
a
change
lot of
before.
worlds in that game. What is there, like 9 or 10 or so? I don't know. There's a bunch.
Oh my god, is this is gonna be another Ring Fit situation where I get to where I think the game should be ending and there's just like same amount of content again. Just keep going.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'm next, right? Number 9?
Number 9.
Mm-hmm.
We've mentioned this game a little bit earlier. Luckily, it's not a Nintendo published game, so people can get it super cheap right now. But Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Nice. I
love
really
this game.
considered throwing this one on there somewhere, but it didn't quite make the cut.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely went for like a good variety of my list because, like you said, Steve, there are just so many things that Mario has done. It's just like, what else could this guy even? What else could you do with him, right?
Yeah, right.
Shoot the Rabbids.
So yeah, exactly. Shoot the Rabbids. This game's incredible. The music's delightful. The whole concept. I have always been like a big tactics RPG type of fan, and this one it does it in such a cool, like, fast-paced way that keeps the game flowing and everything, so that's really nice. But there's also just like tons of surprises that, like, in hindsight you're like, oh, of course that would happen. That's incredible. But like characters pop up that you're just like, oh, they made the cut. That's amazing. So, and I won't spoil it for anybody who hasn't played because it is worth like running it through it and then being like, oh, of course they would have these rabid versions of characters here. That's so good.
It's like a
So yeah.
solidly difficult game too. Like it's challenging. It's definitely not like I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's easier than like XCOM or whatever, but like it's certainly not like it doesn't make the genre much more approachable, which I appreciate.
No,
like,
I
still
think
tough.
it's probably like on par with something like a Fire Emblem in terms of difficulty for me.
Yeah.
I'd say the first world would be like definitely less difficult than Fire Emblem.
Yeah, but some of the later stuff, it really does ramp pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get that game for $10 on sale right now, absolute fucking steal.
Yeah, and I think the DLC in addition to that, which I still have yet to play, but I want to do that before the second one comes out. I think that's like $5 right now too,
Yeah.
so you can get the whole thing for 15.
I tried to go back to it to do the DLC, and I was just like, damn, I don't remember how to play this game, and I don't want to
that's how I
start
felt.
it, you know? yeah, it's like, that sucks, but you know, it's a really great game. You should check it out.
Yeah, definitely one that's up there. And one of my favorite stories about it, though, is just like Ubisoft going to Nintendo, showing them this thing, and Nintendo being like, did we let you use Mario models? Like, just the job they did on the character design and everything, that even Nintendo is questioning it. I love that.
That moment at that Ubisoft presentation where, like, Miyamoto came out and, like, shouted out the game director and, like, he was just like, oh my god, my childhood hero just acknowledged me is like, that was like such a cute moment.
Well, especially considering it was like prefaced with the fact that it got leaked a week early and everyone online was dunking on it and hating on it and was just like, ugh, why are they doing a Rabbids game with Mario? That this is going to be awful. And then it turned out in the reveal that actually this game was fucking great. And when it came out, it was great.
It was so much fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably a skeptic about the idea at the time. Like, I'm sure I was like had a cynical attitude about it and was like very like, you know, that game was great. You know, I think it's a strong. If you made a top 20 list of games on Nintendo Switch, it's a lock. I would think.
Yeah, I think for me, as things get weirder for me, I get just more and more interested. I'm like, okay, yeah, just tell me what this is. I'm down.
How can we jump the shark this week, Nintendo? All right, number 8 for me, I have Super Mario 64.
Ooh.
So this is one, like we talked about earlier, right? The game that we revisited fairly recently with, the 3D All-Star Collection. I didn't 100% it like Chuy did upon re-release, but
you should give it a go. It's fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going for it. I think some of those later levels might really fuck me up though. Like what is it? The clock tower. What's that one called?
Oh, TikTok clock.
Yeah, like that is so hard.
Terrible.
It's so hard. I think there's a lot of things about this game, right, that have not aged well. I think a lot is actually probably too much. The camera is not aged well. I think if you gave this game a free floating camera, it would be infinitely more playable in the modern era. But I think even with those problems, I think Mario 64 is like such an achievement, especially when you think about the context in which it released, right? It being one of the first 3D games, Nintendo's first at bat with like a 3D title. And there's so much about it that is like just really smart design and like very creative. And like, Steve called out like the hub world and the paintings and all that stuff and how they were able to use the fact that like the N64, basically had no load times and you could just pop into a full environment like that and have it be, pretty seamless. Those are things that like, I think were like so mind-blowing at the time, right? And like they're so standard setting now because so many games, learned from the example that Mario 64 set that I think you can kind of like you take some of it for granted almost. But when I think
and that level thing in particular, like the fact that you could replay every level, and if you went out and you selected like different stars or different versions, it would change the level, and you could go back in, and things weren't where you expected them to be, and it was different to how you played it last time, and they didn't have to completely make a whole new level. They could just shuffle some things around and make some stuff a little bit different, and you had a whole totally new experience. And that was really like one of the first games that did that. And it's just commonplace now to have that level of replayability in games.
And it did it better, and still to this day does it better than games that were newer than it for years, right? Like, I think there are a lot of games that don't make as good use of their environment as Mario 64 does. And, like, how many secrets there are to find, right? And, like, the reward for you going for the completionist run and, all those kinds of things, like, those are things that, like, I really just think that the game nails so well, and it has so much personality. Again, you talk about the soundtrack, you talk about, some of the, like, side characters and, like, minor little, like, interactions, like the baby penguin in the snow level you can throw off, like, things like that, like, are so ingrained in, our, like, kind of culture and like lexicon, right? Like everybody remembers those things. If you're of a certain age, right? They're a real touchstone. And like, I think about again, like the personal memory of like getting my N64 for Christmas, the year I finally got one and finally being able to play this game. And like, I remember it was really funny. My grandmother was staying with us that year, and I remember she like came in my room and was like, "What are you doing? Like, we're all out there like hanging out." And I was like, "No, Grandma, I'm playing Mario. Like, why don't you come in here and sit with me?" And she was like, "All right." And she got a chair and just came in and watched me play Mario 64 and asked me a bunch of questions about it.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's like one of my fondest memories with that grandmother. It's like just such a game that meant so much to me at multiple different times. And it's like definitely one of those experiences that, I look back on really fondly.
And shout out to stretching Mario's face at the title screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. Just that game has so many good freaking songs. Like that song is really good. The Dire Dire Docks song is so good. Like just such good synthy jams. Love it. All right, Steve, number 8.
My number 8 is Super Mario Maker 2.
Oh, what?
Yeah?
2?
You don't like Super Mario Maker at all?
It was fine.
Well, I put 2 on because I feel like 2 improved on number 1 in every single way.
Except it was
You got
less novel
slopes
and
added.
nobody cared about it.
It was less novel and no one cared about it because there was too much released at that time, I think.
Maybe.
And I feel like this was just a great filler on the Wii U when there was just a drought of games over on that system. Whereas on the Switch at this point we had so much, and it just came out 2 months after a 2D Mario game. And I don't know, there's something about it, something about being able to make your own, not only levels in Super Mario Maker 2, but make your own worlds, and you can like put multiple courses together and build a world, or if you want, go and download other people's and play those. Like designers like the Celeste team were building new levels every single week and making like ridiculously hard levels for people to go and play and beat. And it was really cool to see their modern platforming take on a Mario game in with Mario assets, and you could just play it. It was awesome. It's low down on my list because I'm not great at making games. As much as I like to think that I really would enjoy it and I'd be great at it, I'm not a good level designer. I'm not very good at it at all, and that's why it's so low down on my list.
Yeah, I've never connected with these games. Like, I remember when the first one came out, it was like such a moment, and like I remember like there were all these, designers and like YouTubers and like people making these like levels, and like there was such a culture around it. But I had more fun watching people play hard levels and like being angry about it than I did doing it myself, because I felt like, especially with Mario Maker 2, I was like, oh, wow, I don't want to play any of the user-generated levels because, like, it's all just become a pissing contest for who can make the most insanely difficult level. And, like, that's not really what Mario's about. Like, I like difficult platformers. I loved Celeste. Super Meat Boy is one of my favorite platformers. But, like, that's not really what Mario's about, right? And, like,
I feel like number 2 did a good job with filtering out a lot of that stuff. Like people would tag it, they could rate it.
Sure.
You could see the number of people that played it versus the number of people that were able to complete the game. You couldn't submit a game to go online until you yourself, as the designer, were able to complete that course. So it wasn't like you can make something insanely difficult that no one was going to finish and you could upload it. There were a lot of those checks and balances in there that possibly weren't in the first game. I never had a Wii U, so I don't know if those things were in there, but I remember the tagging system was so cool.
The level was a thing. I think that was a rule always, but
I think so.
Yeah.
But I can remember like all of the different creative types of levels. Like there was ones where it would just make music. Like you would go in and you'd like click a button and you would like get pushed along the world, and you could like see it like using all the beat blocks and things to like make music throughout. It was so cool. Remember those like Splatoon themed levels and stuff. It was great. Some of the user created stuff was really creative and really cool, and it was great to see what the community can actually make.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like it is cool, and like I struggle to connect with stuff like that. It's like the same reason I've never really got into like Little Big Planet or Dreams. It's like I don't want to make games, I want to play games, and like I feel like a lot of that content is more interesting to me as like a YouTube video or like scrolling by it on Twitter and being like, oh, that's cool, than like plunking down $60 to play it, I remember with Super Mario Maker 2, I played the story mode and then was like, all right, let me get into some of the user-generated stuff. And I was like, oh, this isn't as fun. And then I just was done,
Yeah, I think the hard part about it is like, for a little bit, didn't they maintain a website where Nintendo was like kind of curating the user-generated stuff at least a little bit?
That sounds
I believe so. They definitely had a Twitter account. I think it was on the official the Super Mario Twitter account. They were constantly posting new levels and things for like the month that Mario Maker was out.
Yeah, I imagine whoever had that job was having a good time. Just going through like tons and tons of levels and being like, well, this one's not great. This one's not too bad.
What a gig, right?
Yeah, that would have been great.
All right, Chewy, number 8.
All right, number 8 for me Mario Golf World Tour. This is
Nice.
the 3DS version of Mario Golf. And I went back and forth on which Mario Golf I was going to choose, but I think I went with this one ultimately because it just has so much. It has tons and tons to it. And then there's DLC that, like, I think there's like 18 different courses that you can play in this one. I want to say there's like four or six main courses that it comes packed in with, followed by like all of these Super Mario World courses that are they're half courses, like 9 holes instead of 18. But then there's DLC that you can just buy 6 more courses, all 18 holes and new characters and stuff. So this one's just so packed with stuff to do and play. Still controls great, works great, and uh, always one of my favorite things with the sports games, I like the Mario sports games, is when you get a mode, the main campaign or the main story mode where you can actually just like run around, hang out around the castle, talk to little people who are there, and just get like their random tips and stuff. It's just a charming thing to me that I'm like, oh, I spent a lot more time just running around and talking to these Mario characters than I thought I would.
So you just played Mario Golf as if it was Animal Crossing, just going around talking to everyone in the
Yeah,
local area.
yeah, basically.
Hanging out in the clubhouse, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, and then even outside of just like that stuff, like there's just so many side modes too, lots of different challenges. Some of them are way too difficult because you're just like, how do I hit this golf ball to do what I want it to do? Golf is hard. It's dumb, but it's hard.
All right. So my number 7 is Super Mario Brothers 2 slash
Nice.
Super Mario Advance. That's the way that I played it the most. So I love the original 4 2D Mario games. 2 is I like because it's just so odd. Right, like it originally, if you know anything about the history of it, right, the original version of it was actually a different game, and when it was brought to the States, it was turned into Mario Brothers 2 because Mario was so popular in the U.S., and they wanted a sequel out quick, and the original sequel to Mario, which is called, now to us, it's called Mario The Lost Levels, was deemed too difficult for Americans. So they took this other Miyamoto-designed game, and I can't remember the name of it. I don't know if one of you can look it up for me, but
Doki Doki Panic.
thank you. And we took Doki Doki Panic and turned that into Super Mario Brothers 2. So as a result, right, like we got a lot of firsts for the franchise, and this was like that really weird period where like Nintendo would make sequels that had very little in common with the first game. And this game was like, you can play as 4 different characters instead of Mario. And, we had like the introduction of like a lot of things that have kind of become staples now, where it's like Toad is like small but really fast and has like a shallow jump. Luigi has like the longer flutter jump. Peach has like the float, all those kinds of things that you still see represented in the way that those characters handle in any game that you play them, more or less. Or like Smash Brothers, all those kinds of things. So I've always thought it was like funny that like this game that kind of got backdoored into being a Mario game has had so like there are a lot of iconic Mario enemies that originate in this title, and it's just a weird.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Shy Guys and stuff weren't in Mario games. It was a Doki Doki Panic character that got added. Same apparently with Birdos, Pokies, and Bob-ombs. They were all Doki Doki Panic characters.
And like
that then got
Bob-omb
over into Mario.
Now,
right. Like Bob-omb is like one of the. It's probably, I would say, if you ask somebody to name the 3 most iconic Mario like mobs, you'd probably say Koopa, Goomba, Bob-omb, right? Like. So yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, all of that stuff, has obviously left such a big impact on the franchise, and I liked the ways in which the game, like, there's a lot of weird things in it that are like not in other games, right? Like the whole like emphasis on like picking up blocks and throwing them, and like
that was one thing I never really liked. Like you pulled the things out of the floor and you had to chuck them at the enemies and stuff rather than just jumping on them. It was very different to any other Mario game.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like it. Like I think that like objectively speaking, I think like Mario 3 is probably the best of those 3 games on the NES, but I've always loved I love the charm of Mario 2 and how weird and wacky it is and how it is such a sore thumb, even though it is one of the first games in the franchise. Yeah, so it's one that's always kind of held a special place in my heart, and similar to like, you know, what Chuy described with having like older people in your life who had an NES or a Super Nintendo. I don't even remember who this was, but I remember like multiple houses when I was a very little kid. Might have even been that same house where I played Super Mario World, where like playing the Mario Deluxe version of this and like getting to the character select screen and being like, oh my god, I can pick a different character, like what, you know, and just having moments like that like really stuck with me around that game. So yeah, Mario Brothers 2, number 7.
Solid.
My number 7, quick one for me is Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Okay.
Like Chewy, loved this game, but we've spoken about it, so easy one.
Okay. Chewy, number 7.
Awesome. Oops, lost my list. It's on this other doc. Number 7. Yes. Okay. I almost questioned where I put it, but I got some ones that I think I'd still put above it. Bowser's Fury. Specifically Bowser's Fury,
Nice.
not like 3D World, not the attach. It's the attachment to 3D World.
That's
right?
tough. Because I think they come hand in hand as one package.
I thought
They're
about
on my
putting
list as a single package.
I thought about putting it on my list because I really did like that one, but I ended up bumping it.
I think it's acceptable to put it as a single package, you know, but
Yeah.
I think just in general, I still like just the Bowser's Fury part better.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
Than that, yeah.
It is 3D World on your list anywhere else though? Because I'm doing the tallying right now.
No.
Okay, then that's
3D
fine.
World's not on
You
it.
can count them as the same
but-
game. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get it without getting 3D World, so you might as well play 3D World if you do pick
3D
pick
World's
it up
great.
and
It
have
was
it.
a lot of fun. I really enjoyed
still
it.
solid. But yeah, Bowser's Fury in general, I think it was just it gave me that feeling that some other games gave me, where I'm just smiling through the whole thing,
Sure.
the whole experience. I'm just like, wow, I just keep everywhere I turn, it's just a more Mario level. Like even to the extent where the part that I was most worried about is like, how are you going to traverse between these like obstacle courses, you know? And just the fact that they added the Plessy stuff and made it interesting, I was like, man, every single moment in this is just a delight to traverse. And then it gets more and more intense as you build up to all those big battles and stuff. And one of them was incredible because I was like, uh-oh, I'm out of time. I better get back to Plessy. And then all of the sudden, Fury Bowser just like blasts Plessy with this fireball, and they disappear. And I'm just like, oh no, I'm stranded. I'm doomed here. I don't know how to get out of this.
My favorite moment in that game was I remember getting to like one of it's one of the first islands, and there's like these little cats that'll follow you around if you're in the cat suit. And I was just like, oh, I was like playing with these little cats, and then Bowser, and then they all turn evil and attack you. I was like, oh no! Like,
you got to save those cats. You got to take them back to their mum, who's always going to be looking for them. It's so sweet. I love
So
it.
cute.
It's great.
Yeah.
And like the areas that you can only get in when Bowser's like furious and he has to smash them. Like that would be the thing that I was always struggling to do. I'm like, shit, no, don't get angry now, because there's the area that I've been trying to get into for like the last 2 times you got angry, and it's all the way across the other side of the map, and I'm not going to be able to get there in time before you stop being angry.
Yeah. There's that time constraint that is like, it can get in your way for sure. But yeah, that game, I had a great time. I still want to go back and 100% it, but I haven't had a chance yet.
that game's so good. I feel like it should have been on my list now, but hey, that's fine. We're gonna move on.
Definitely should have been on your list.
It's so good. It's so good.
And the inventory system, the first
Yes,
time
I
you
was
really
about
get
to
like an
say.
inventory. that you can like swap in and out of all of the cool suits that Mario gets.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to worry about like, oh, do I swap my power up? It's just like, no, who cares? Just have this one. If you want the other one back later, you can swap it over.
Damn.
Yeah, that was such a clean way to handle it, and I'm like, yes, do that for whatever the next game is. I'm down.
Damn, I really want to put this on the list. Oh well. We'll have to re-rank them in like 5 years.
We can bump Mario Brothers Wii. We can take that off if you want to shift everything down.
I'll think about it. If we're gonna allow me to edit this on the fly, I'll think about it. So that'll be the only change I make if I do, though. Okay, so number 6, I have, and this is actually the game that made me not put this one in, because I like this game better. And this is Super Mario 3D Land. So this was the first Super Mario 3D game. This was on the 3DS, and this game is exceptional. I think it's one of the most highly reviewed Mario games. It was like really, really critically acclaimed. And I remember grabbing this one. I hadn't played a Mario game in a while at this point. And I remember my good friend M loaned it to me right before I went on a cross-country road trip where I was going to be like traveling for like 2 weeks and spending a lot of time in the car. And they were like, hey, you got to play this game. Take it, play it while you're on the road. And I remember, maybe like the first or second day we're on the road, I had some downtime and I was like, all right, you know what, whatever. We'll boot this game up. I'll play a little bit of it. And I played almost all of it in like a day. Because I was just like, I got nothing else to do right now. I am in this car. There is nowhere for me to go. Let's fucking rock. And I played the crap out of that game. And then it has like a whole post game where it like ups the ante difficulty wise. Beat that. Could not get enough of that game.
Do you think you're not biased by the fact that it was that experience on a road trip that your best friend gave you the game and that you played it? I mean, not being able to do anything else.
So what, though, right? Like, that's what we're doing here,
I mean,
right?
Fair enough, but like...
Would you have played... Go ahead.
But, like, I think 3D World, for example, probably is objectively a better game.
How can you say that? You've never played this game.
No, but, like, do you not think? Like,
no, I like this game better.
Playing the two games?
No, because I think this game is... I think that 3D World is cool... But it's more similar to a traditional like 2D Mario platformer. And what I like about 3D Land was how it like really made good use of the 3D and like having the perspective shift as you were going through levels and things like that. And like that game felt to me fresh, like a refreshing of the Mario formula in the same way that Bowser's Fury does. Whereas I think 3D World was really fun, but it kind of just feels like an iteration on the new Super Mario Brothers formula, which is great, but it's kind of tired. And I think 3D Land is like, if you were going to make a list of like the most unique Mario games, like there's no other Mario game like it, and it also slaps. Like, yeah, I have memories associated with it that like, definitely I think impact how I look back on it. But like, go look at the Metacritic. It's got like a 94. I think it's the second highest rated Mario game besides Odyssey. So yeah, that's like I think that's a very popular opinion that this game slaps. I'd say if you're looking for a 3DS game to go back to, right? Shit, you should pick that up.
Did you even mention that in the list? When we were talking about like must-buy 3D games?
I think I did list it, but I didn't talk about it a lot. Yeah, because we were like rattling off games. But yeah, that game rules. Okay, Steve, number 6.
So my number 6 is Super Mario 64 DS. But I will bundle it in with Super Mario 64 because it's basically the same game.
No,
nope,
it's a different game.
It's not.
It's a different game. I'm sorry, can you play as Wario in the original game?
In terms of points, it's been put in with the same, because I'm not having Super Mario 64 and Super Mario 64 DS on the same list. It's not going to happen.
Let's see.
So consider this Super Mario 64.
I don't know if I can allow that.
I just remember getting the DS. Like, my parents came back from, they went on a trip to London, and I remember they came back, and we came home from wherever we were staying. I think we were staying at my auntie's house, and they'd got a DS, and we were like, "What the hell's this?" Like, we had no idea what it was, and they got it out, and Mario 64 DS was the game that they picked up with it. I was just blown away coming from the Game Boy Advance to like this in a handheld.
Yeah,
it was just like, are you joking? Like, we can now do this? Like, I never want to play that again. And so I just sat there for hours, just playing 64 on the DS. It was incredible, and so there was so much fun. And there was like all those fun. Do you remember those like fun mini games they added as well?
Yeah, like the
we had to like find the faces
too.
and stuff.
Yeah.
They were so cool. Like, you just in your downtime, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna find the Wario in the like whole grid of Marios or whatever it was." There was like all of these goofy mini games they added to it. Mm-hmm. It was such a good game. I loved that game.
You know what, Steve? I'm gonna allow counting it as the same game solely for the same reason that we're counting like the Super Mario Advance, whatever. They're like, it's not quite. This is more different than any of those. If you go to the Wikipedia page, it even says Yoshi is the main character. So that makes it a very fucking different game, Steve.
Yoshi is not the main
character.
He's
the character you start as. You start as him and unlock Mario.
Wow.
Totally different game.
That's weird.
Totally different game. Sorry, we'll count it. Yeah, that game is really good. I replayed it a couple years ago on the Wii U Virtual Console, and I was like, this is a fantastic port of this game. It's such a better way to play it. There you go. That's a good Wii U game to pick up.
There you go.
All right, number 6 from Chuy.
This one we've talked about a little bit higher on my list than Steve's. Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2, that whole thing. What did I want to shout out about this game on this go? I don't know. It's hard to get through all the Star World. It's hard.
It is hard. Don't worry. We'll talk about it again when it comes up on my list. For number 5, I have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Ooh.
So I think Mario Kart 8 is definitively the best Mario Kart experience. I like it a lot. I've spent a good amount of time with it. It was great on Wii U. It was even better on Switch. The DLC was great. It's got more content coming that I'm looking forward to. There's a lot of positive things you can say about Mario Kart 8. I am not as big a Mario Kart fan as most people. I like Mario Kart fine. I don't have a ton of nostalgia for it because I was more of a PlayStation kid, so I played Crash Team Racing more than Mario Kart 64. That was like a staple in my household, and I have always thought it handled better than 64. So that was something that, like, I didn't really get into Mario Kart until Double Dash, and, so I don't know. I like Mario Kart a lot, but I imagine it is higher on both of your lists.
Yes.
Which makes sense. Because a lot of people are, diehard Mario Kart stands.
I mean, it's got to be the best-selling Mario game of all time, right?
You would think, right?
I'm not sure.
Like, if you combine 8 and 8 Deluxe together, it's got to be.
You would think.
It's the best-selling game on Switch. By a long shot at this point.
The only thing is, I could imagine the legacy titles selling better because they've been re-released.
Oh, because they've resold a million times, yeah.
Yeah. So you know what it is? Mario Kart Deluxe has 43.35 units. Super Mario Brothers, the original, is the second highest with 40 million, roughly.
And that's just 40. Deluxe, the top one? So that doesn't include the Wii U sales? So you could probably chuck another 7 mil on that.
I think it's probably counting both of them. It's showing the 8 Deluxe logo, but yeah, so it goes Mario Kart 8, Super Mario Brothers, Mario Kart Wii, New Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers Wii, Mario Kart DS is the top 5. And then Odyssey is number 6.
What's America? Yeah.
People fucking love Mario Kart, you know?
True.
Makes sense.
I'm one of them.
Yep. All right. So, Steve, number 5.
My number 5 is Super Mario Sunshine. And I wonder if this is on either of your lists. I'm so curious to find out. But I really enjoyed this game as a kid. I thought it was so fun.
But Steve, would you have ranked it so highly if you didn't enjoy it as a kid? Is my question.
Yeah, like I might have hated it as a child and then come back to it as an adult and thought it was great. Because I've done that with a ton of games, and I can imagine you're the same, right? Like I played Metroid when I was a kid. We had Samus Returns on the Game Boy.
Oh, I'm 100% just busting your chops.
Clue. But I had no fucking clue what to do in Samus Returns. I've still not finished that game. I have no idea what I'm doing. I will eventually play the Mercury Steam version of that game because I really want to play that. Anyway, off that tangent, Mario Sunshine is great, and I'm going back and playing it in the 3D All Stars collection last year. I think it really solidified its place in my heart as one of my favorite 3D Mario games. I just love Flood and just being able to like whiz around the place with this like water jetpack that you've got. It makes the traversal of the world so much fun. You feel like you're just cleaning up the place. I don't know, some about it is really good. Yes, the like boss battles aren't as fun or as engaging. The level design probably isn't as good as some of the other 3D Mario games, but I don't think detracts from the fact that I love Al Delfino. I love like trying to get the sunshine back out. I love the concept of the game. I love chasing like Shadow Mario. There's just so much to this game that there's just so much to love.
I'm going to say spoilers for my list. It is not in my top 4
Yeah,
because there's no way for me to talk about this game without spoiling that fact. I think it is the worst 3D Mario game. Saying that you are the worst 3D Mario game, though, is like saying you're the worst like slice of pizza. It's like, okay, it's still pretty good, though, right? Like, you know.
Still solid.
Yeah, the worst slice of pizza you've ever had is still better than a lot of other food, right? So I think Super Mario Sunshine is like the worst Mario game, 3D Mario game for a lot of reasons. Like it's half baked. If you go learn about the development of the game, they put it out before it was done. So there's a ton of content that was intended for it that just got cut. There's a lot of filler. Anybody who has suffered through the mission where you have to fucking ride the Yoshi and then get on the boat and sit and wait for the boat to fucking take you across the water, like that's not fun. And it's really easy to fall in the water, and then your Yoshi dies, and you got to do the whole fucking thing over. It's like there's a lot of.
What don't you love about like just vomiting everywhere? It's Yoshi. Like you literally has a little stomach symbol, and you like.
That's not great either. Yeah, that's not great either.
It's really bizarre. But I get what you're saying, but I personally prefer it over stuff like Galaxy. I just did not engage with Galaxy at all.
That's fine. That's why taste exists, right? Like it's like I still like Super Mario Sunshine. I just have a lot of critiques for it because I think a lot of the reason people of our age remember it so fondly is because it came out when we were like 9 years old, right? And like
yeah, that definitely has a factor in it, and I'm well aware of it. But having gone back to it last year, or the year before, whenever the 3D All Star stuff came out, like I had a good time with it. I enjoyed playing that more than I enjoyed playing 64 because it felt like a modern game.
Sure.
It felt like that was the start of the lineage of where we got to with Odyssey. They learned with 64 and the like leaps and bounds they made from 64 to Sunshine. It was just astonishing, like the level of quality in the models, the graphics, the fact that they learned 3D cameras. It's insane.
But I think for me, the thing I don't like about Sunshine is I think if you take away the advancements that were made because it's on better hardware with more experience in 3D design, I think aside from that, it's worse in every regard. Like aesthetically, it looks great, but like Al Delfino all looks the same and all the levels look the same, whereas like not exactly the same, but you know what I mean, right? It's all the same tropical theme. Whereas like Mario 64, every world feels so distinct and has its own distinct soundtrack.
Yeah, which makes sense. Like, but that's a difference in concept of the game. Yes. But I understand that you know people are gonna like one concept more than they like the other. I don't mind staying on Al Delfino at all. I think it's really cool.
It's really charming.
the level on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe where I'm whizzing around the Al Delfino airport, I think is really charming and cool, and I love that too.
And again, I don't hate Isle Delfino. I was really hoping that the Odyssey DLC rumors were true, you know? But yeah, I think the reason Mario Sunshine doesn't click for me is like a death by 1,000 cuts that leads to it being like a pretty good game versus a pretty great game, which is like, I think the bar that almost every other mainline Mario release hits, you know?
Yeah.
But
I wanted to say too, like revisiting them all as recently with the 3D All Stars. It's like one of the few Mario games with like camera control, honestly. Like, you know, you play Mario 64 and you're like, you've got those 8 points basically that you can turn the camera. But this one's like, oh, you can really move the camera. Even playing Galaxy, I was really taken aback. I was like, oh yeah, I guess playing with like the Wiimote and Nunchuck didn't really give you
I hate
any
it.
control.
And it has that icon that comes up on the screen of like, nah, you can't move the camera at this point. It's just like, oh, for fuck's
like,
sake.
stop
Yeah,
doing
it's
that.
such a limited one, and so like it's basically Sunshine and Odyssey where you actually have camera movement in those. So yeah, just a little shout out there because that was one thing that I was really bothered by going back to Galaxy. I was just like, I can't see things.
I really wish they would just put out a version of Mario 64 that has a free camera. Like, I really think that would make all the difference in the world of people
I really
looking back
think
on
a
that game.
remake of that game, like a full remake in like the Odyssey
solid.
engine, would be so good. But
I don't even
just
think you have to
don't see
change
that
anything.
happening.
Like, just do like what they did with like the Ocarina and like Majora's ports on 3DS, where it's just like, just make it look better and have better textures and give it a free flowing camera.
Yeah, give it to Grezzo. Let them do the work. They did such a good job with those ports.
Yeah.
I think you're right. That for me is the main thing that stops me going back to that game. But chuck in a modern Mario model and give me a free camera, and I'll have a great time with Mario 64 in 2022.
Yeah. All right. My number 5. I went with a different Paper Mario game on this one.
Oh shit!
I went Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
Very nice. I think most people would say that's the best one, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard because they're both so incredibly solid, you know, but just like this one, it felt like it updated on everything that Paper Mario did really well and just like kept going. I don't know. The story is pretty incredible with this one. I feel like it's a peak that hasn't been reached with Paper Mario in quite a long time. And unless you play Bug Fables, I recommend that one.
It's so weird to me that how poorly managed the Paper Mario IP feels. Like, it was like the first one came out and it was like, what a great idea, you nailed it. And then they made an even better one by all accounts. I've never played it, but by all accounts on GameCube, an even better one. And then since then, it's like everyone's like worse than the last one except Sticker Star, which everybody really
feels like
hates.
there's always been, we've got to come up with a gimmick every time, or like reinvent the battle system. It's just like, why have we got to go look at it and just start from scratch every single time? Just go back and make a classic JRPG. Because that's really what Paper Mario was all about.
And it really feels like they went that direction because of like the Mario and Luigi series. But now that that's gone, I'm like, what's the excuse? Like, just make it an RPG again.
Man, those games are really good too.
Yeah, they are solid. It's sad to see those gone.
I've only ever played the Game Boy one, I think the original, but
Game Boy Advance, the Superstar Saga,
Advance.
Right?
Yeah, Superstar Saga, yeah.
Solid.
But that was a really fun
There's
game.
A remake 3DS for anybody who wants to play it. And it's real cheap. Oh, all of those are really cheap on the Wii U Virtual Console too. I think Superstar Saga is like $7.
Damn. All right, maybe I'll have to throw that on the list.
Do you ever what happens in those situations? Like Alpha Dream's gone. Where does the money go? Does Nintendo pocket it all?
100%.
No.
They own the IP.
Does it get distributed to the people who made the game?
No fucking way. No fucking way. Not at all.
Yeah. Definitely.
They're lucky Nintendo leaves the logo in. All right, number 4. We're getting to the last couple here. This one is one I imagine is on no one's list, and I don't even know if either of you have heard of it. Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. So this was this was kind of like a predecessor to the Mario Advance series, and Mario Deluxe was a Game Boy cart that had basically like a remaster type port of the original Super Mario Brothers, and then when you beat it, you unlocked all of the stuff from Lost Levels. So it was basically Mario 1 and 2 for the Game Boy, souped up, bells and whistles. It had like a couple extra like mini games and things like that, but it was like that was the way that I interacted with the original Mario, for years, as somebody who didn't have like older siblings or anything like that. And I remember playing this game so much. It is probably the game I played on the Game Boy the most that wasn't a Pokemon title, because I remember for just forever just trying to get good at it enough to actually beat it, and then beating it and being like, yes, I beat it, and then getting to the Lost Level stuff and being like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like, how is this harder?
So you were right. You're right. They were right that this was too hard for Americans.
I was like 7 or 8, so I don't know. I figured it out. I think we could have handled it, but it was tough.
So I was looking this up on Wikipedia, and what do you remember what the screen changes to when you finish the first game and what it says? When you have beat it, it changes the title of the game. It becomes Super Mario Bros. For super players.
Whoa!
So you can officially call yourself a super player.
I think I was a super player. Yeah, I mean, something I also remember vividly about that game was like really like loving the music, and like obviously Mario games all have great music, but I remember I was very obsessed with the fact that when you'd get to the like last 100 seconds or whatever, the music would speed up and like it got more intense. And I remember sometimes I would start a level and wait until then and then be like, all right, I gotta run through it real quick, and just like setting up all these little stupid like challenges for yourself as a kid, right? And just being like, I'm gonna beat this level this way and like do this stupid thing that doesn't matter, and just like really getting into the like speed running and like trying to like get a higher score and all that kind of stuff. And that's like the first time I ever really did that in a game, let alone, like it being the way that I experienced the original Super Mario Brothers. I think that game holds up extremely well. People love to talk shit about the NES if they're young, but like that's one of the best games ever made. I stand by that.
Nice. They really went to town on it? Like looking at the Mario wiki, like there's Game Boy printer stuff in here, like exclusive things that you would unlock if you like pick things up, like banners and stuff.
Yeah.
And this one's also on the 3DS Virtual Console, so you can go pick it up there.
Yeah, I have it. As well. You're damn right, I have it. Yeah, this is like one of the premier games of my childhood. I loved Super Mario Deluxe.
So my number 4 is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. So I'm like merging the two. This was how I experienced both of the games. I didn't play 3D World when it was on the Wii U because, as I said, I didn't have one. But I loved both of these games. I thought they were so cool, so charming. Of the two, I think it's pretty clear that Bowser's Fury is the better of the two games. It just does so much more. It really is that next step in where I think the games are going. But 3D World introduced so much cool stuff that I'd never seen before. And I loved the like isometric perspective, the cool way that it allows you to interact with the environments, the Captain Toad levels, which inspired its own spin-off itself. They were so cool. I loved those puzzle levels. Some about it, I just love it. But I won't go into it too much because we've already touched on Bowser's Fury. But yeah, I think it had to be on my list.
Did you end up picking up Captain Toad later?
No, I haven't. I still haven't picked up Captain Toad.
I'm so like I already played through it on Wii U, and I really want to play those new levels, but I'm like, do I buy it again just to do the new stuff? I don't know.
Oh my god! Sorry. I started looking at stuff about Super Mario Deluxe, and I was like, oh, I forgot about this mode. There was this mode where you would, like, race Boo. I totally forgot about that. God damn, what a good-ass game.
And there was me thinking you were invested in 3D World. How I should have known.
Hey, that game's good. I like it.
And plus, I think it was is it the first, like, 3D Mario you could play online with friends?
I think so.
Probably. Yeah.
It was really cool that they tried. They didn't do a great job at it, but they tried, and we did have a good time when we did play it with Sierra and with AJ. But yeah, that game was tough online because of the terrible lag that you got. Like, if any one person froze, all of you would freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if one person had a bad internet connection, none of you would be able to move. Yeah. So I ended up playing through. On my own. I pretty much played. Well, you couldn't play the whole game as like one character either, because there would be like specific points in some of the levels where you had to like be another character, and you would have to go back in. Like, I remember one time I was playing through as Mario, and it was like, oh no, to get to this area you need to be Peach, so you'd have to like play the level again, and it gives you that like replayability, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game's really fun.
Cool. We're on number 4.
Yep.
Yeah, number 4.
Number 4, I put Mario Party 3.
Wow. Okay.
I went back and forth
Not Superstars?
on which Mario Party was gonna represent here, because I did, like I said, I try to go with a variety here. Mario Party 3, I think it's just like the best N64 Mario Party, and I think even like beyond the other ones, the thing that really stood out with me was the story mode aspect with this one, and all of the single player stuff, because that's the most difficult part with Mario parties, I think. Like, for anybody who ever has to play them alone, it's just like, what do you do? Because they're a party game, they're meant to be played with other people, but I felt like this one really catered to the just like single player experience, especially at that point where nobody wanted to play with me because I was a sore winner. I'd rub it in your face real hard if I won.
No, you?
Yeah, definitely.
Never
me.
would have guessed.
So yeah, I think this one, one of the coolest modes that we ever got was in this one, and it was the duel mode where you just like ran around these like custom courses. They didn't exist like anywhere else. It was just like a specialized course that you would play on, and all of your Mario characters would have their own partner associated with them. You would roll for different partners later on, and you basically just went to battle with another player. It was 1 versus 1, and I think you had like 5 hits of HP, maybe 6 or so, and once you beat them, you won the game. And it was such a unique little experience on there. But yeah, the mini games were great in this one. All of them that pop up in Mario Party Superstars, I'm just like, yes, so good. Yeah, and all of the levels, really fun time with this one.
3 is my second favorite.
Yeah.
What's your favorite then, or is it on your list, and we're gonna have to wait?
Funnily enough, Steve, it is the next one on my list. Number 3, Mario Party 2. I agonized whether to put literally on my list. I have Superstars / Mario Party 2, and I decided I was going to decide in the moment. Chuy going with the retro pick. I'm cementing it in. Mario Party 2 is the best Mario Party. That is my favorite Mario Party. It is the best Mario Party. I mean, Mario Party Superstars is probably actually the best one, but Mario Party 2 is my favorite Mario Party. That was the one that I played the most during the N64 era. I remember even after 3 came out, my friends and I would go back to 2 a lot because we liked those boards and we liked a lot of the things that were unique to that game. And during the Wii era, right, I had Mario Party 2 on Virtual Console, and it was the go-to party game of me and my friends. And like for many years during like my later high school, early college years and stuff, when I was still living in the town that I grew up in, my house was like the house to hang out at. I had a room where I had a big projector, HD TV, with my Wii hooked up, and I had the GameCube controllers plugged in, and for years, literally years, the only games I played on the Wii were Mario Party 2 and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and that was it. And I played a lot of Mario Party 2. It was like a multiple nights a week thing. So Mario Party 2 is like, I just have so many good memories of that game, and like ranging back from being like, 7 or 8 years old when it came out, and I remember playing it at my friend Craig's house, and we would run out back. We would like pause the game and be like, we got 10 turns to go. Let's go jump in the pool and run around until it's too hot, and then we got to come back inside and play more Mario Party, to being a grown-ass adult and being like, let's get really drunk and play this children's game. And it's great. Mario Party's so fun. It's such a great party game because it's like a great democratizer, right? Like, regardless of how good you are at games, you could win, you could lose. That's what it's all about, And there's a reason we keep coming back to it.
The theft of stars just like destroys friendships and relationships. It really does.
It's so good. And like the psychological warfare of like when you're playing and it's like, if you steal a star, like I'm going to come after you and like all that. Like, yeah, it's just so much fun. So yeah, if I had to pick a Mario Party, 2 is absolutely my game.
I get it.
Interesting.
I get it.
Steve,
my
number
three. Super Mario Odyssey is my number 3.
Wow.
I love Super Mario Odyssey. I think we've gushed about this game so much. It's my favorite 3D Mario game by a long shot, which I think spoils the fact that my top 2 games are not mainline Mario games.
You didn't put Mario Galaxy, a game you just said you didn't like, as number 1.
Mario Galaxy's not on the list. No, I do not like that game. But Odyssey, like we've spoken about it, every single level's different. You've got all of the nostalgia pieces with the like different outfits that you can get, like cool new characters. It just handles so well. Cappy's awesome. I actually played with the motion controls on this for like the only game I play with motion controls. I just remember running around New Donk City for hours trying to find all of the moons. Just like hours and hours trying to figure out how to get like the ones that are really high up, and you've got to do those crazy moves in order to do it, like where you jump, you've got to throw Cappy while you're in the air, and then you jump on your hat, and then you can jump up to the like top level. It was, and like just getting that maneuver, and like the sense of elation when you finally get it and you manage to get the moon that you've been trying to go for. It's just so cool. There's just so much hidden stuff in that game. It's so charming. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No complaints here. Chewy, number 3.
Number 3, I put Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And honestly, it jumped up a lot for me just by the fact that we're getting basically double that game pretty soon. By the end of next year, we're going to be playing 96 courses on a single Mario Kart. That is, I don't think they'll ever go that big again, but I'm glad they did for this one. Since we're not getting a Mario Kart 9, might as well get enough courses to amount to a new game. So yeah, Mario
Do you
Kart
feel
8
like
Deluxe.
we've seen the ultimate Mario Kart and the ultimate Smash Bros on Switch, and they've got nowhere to go now? Like, what happens next?
I think Smash, I feel that way about. I think Mario Kart, there's still blood to be squeezed out of that stone, and like I think there's like things you could go back to. Right? Like you could reintroduce Double Dash, things like that, and that would feel novel.
I think for me, what Mario Kart would need at this point is something along the lines of like Diddy Kong Racing story mode, or even like the mission modes of the past. But like, I think as far as like the core racing, Mario Kart is probably there. But I don't know. At the same time, I'm just like, the courses really change Mario Kart games for me too, like whatever tracks you have. So I think they could still make it really interesting and stuff. Because that's like, I guess that's always been the differentiator for me with like golf and tennis, for example. Like tennis, I'm like, the course is always going to take on the same general shape and you're going to use the same general space for your gameplay. Whereas golf, I was like, oh, you're kind of like moving around. You're going to different places. It looks and feels really different wherever you are. And I mean, there's a different feel for tennis and stuff, but like I think Mario Kart has that advantage for itself, where all of the tracks that it has are very different. So, yeah, I think there's still room for Mario Kart to grow, but Smash, yeah, I agree. Probably that's the ultimate version. I would prefer they'd like strip down the next one and really focus on characters. Um, but yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think, like I said, I would have put it lower because I'm just kind of like bored of it right now, but I think that's going to change very soon.
All right. Number 2 for me is Super Mario Odyssey. Just like Steve, I would say, and I think that probably makes it obvious what my number 1 is, but I think this is the best 3D Mario game. I remember feeling that way when it came out and being like, but recency bias. Like, don't get too, like, you just had that moment with Breath of the Wild. Like, don't, like, okay, like, let's cool our jets. But it was a game where, like, the more I played it, the more I was like, this is a masterpiece, right? Like, Chuy, you said it about Bowser's Fury earlier. I remember just having a smile on my face the entire time I was playing that game. Mm-hmm. It's just so good. And like, it feels great. I think it's, it's got that unparalleled Mario set of controls where it's just fun to move around, which has always been, I think, the differentiator. But like the music, the variance in environments, and like just the wacky shit that they have you do in that game just because of like, take over a photorealistic T-Rex, sure, whatever. Like,
my god, yeah.
They were like, let's just
then you
jump
get to
the
go
shark.
in the wall.
Yeah.
You can like be in the one and you're in like 2D Mario mode, and then like you jump back out and it's like you're 3D again. It was, oh god, I love that game.
And then you just take over a person and drive an RC car. Incredible.
That game just has so much going on, and I don't think there's like a moment of it where I wasn't like, this is good, this is smart, this is a great choice. And like, even like the way that like moons are placed, where some of them are just like stupid easy to get and you just like walk up and grab them, and some of them are like these insane challenges, or some of them are like these random Easter eggs. Like, it just gives you such a sense of progression, and it's really easy to have the same thing that's great about Breath of the Wild, where you have that kind of like dip in, dip out, where it's like, I could play for like 5 or 10 minutes and achieve something, or I could play for hours in a row and just be hooked. Trying to, figure out the combos, right? Get to the highest point in New Donk City, whatever it is. Those things are all just so rewarding. And again, similar to Sunshine, right? Like, the post-game stuff is crazy. Like, that was so hard. The Dark Side of the Moon stuff was like, what the hell? Jesus. Like, some of those
weird like metal cubes that unlocked as well. Like, they were just like everywhere, and you can go into these new areas. And for me though, the real treat was when you got to the end and you found the Mushroom Kingdom and you got that Mario 64 outfit. Yes. It was just like, oh my god, this is the best ending to a video game.
Yeah,
it
not
was
having
so
that
good.
Spoiled for me was just like, oh, what? Yeah. This is awesome. This is so cool. Yeah, it's just that game. It just truly whips front to back. I think it's another game that, like, if you ask me to come up with an example of, what is like a 10 out of 10 game, Mario Odyssey is a 10 out of 10. Steve, number 2.
My number 2 is Mario Party Superstars.
Really? Okay.
So
I can't believe that's not number 1.
I struggled with the top 2, and I struggled with which Mario Party to put on the list too, because Mario Party Superstars doesn't contain any of the maps that I'm nostalgic for. I'm nostalgic for all of the GameCube ones. I want Mario Party 4 and 5's boards. I want the ones from Mario Party 6 and 7 with the weird goofy microphone and the like day-night cycles on the boards, and like the weird town plaza and stuff, and like the underwater pirate one. All of those ones are more nostalgic for me, but Mario Party Superstars enabled me to play this game online with friends and family at a time when I couldn't see them. And I think that was just like truly special. The fact that I could play games with people the other side of the ocean, or my family who I wasn't able to see for months at a time because of just the crazy world we were in at that period. That made it super special. And the fact that the online is good in this game. It's not terrible like 3D Worlds. You can play the mini games really well. It's great. And the collection of mini games is top notch. All of the favorites from the N64 and the GameCube are here. And now they just need to continue to add to it with DLC packs, and I think it would be the perfect Mario Party game.
As soon as they do that, it's taking my place right there. It's just it's gonna be the best one. I mean, it is already, but it'll solidify itself way ahead of everything.
Damn, I feel like I should have conspired with you there, Steve, so that it would rank higher, but this list is going to be nonsense. I can't wait to see the final list.
Yeah, because like none of the Mario Party games are going to rank at all high. I'm looking at the list now. They're not really coming in that high compared to some of the other games.
Yeah,
we shall see.
All right.
Okay, Chuy, number 2.
My number 2. We mentioned its sequel earlier, but I'm going with the original, Super Mario Maker. And the reason I'm going with this one over Mario Maker 2 is just like the gamepad controls for creating levels and stuff are just so much more intuitive and easy to do for everybody. Like I know both of you aren't so much into creating levels and doing that sort of thing, but I think had you experienced it more on the Wii U over the Switch kind of UI, it would have been at least more interesting to you. I think that was...
I played all of the creation handheld and did it with the touch controls, and it was pretty innovative better in that way. Yeah.
So yeah,
I feel like with a stylus or like a little pen where I could like pull things out of the drawer, it would be even better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that game really was built around... It's one of those few Wii U games where I'm like, yeah, this is better because of the gamepad. Not so much... Because some of them I'm just like, no, this is a little worse because of the gamepad.
That Star Fox game is notorious for that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Platinum!
The next thing I really like about this one too is just that it had all of the amiibo functionality with the classic like little 8-bit skins and everything. Literally hundreds of amiibo that you could scan in this one, and it would have its own dedicated skin. It was unfortunately only usable as like the 8-bit sprites, but even that was just like seeing themed levels around different characters and stuff was really cool. But I think the biggest thing with this game was just like it took off at a point that was really good for it. It was, I think, like AGDQ and SGDQ, Summer Games Done Quick, and Awesome Games Done Quick would do not so much speed runs of it, but like challenges where there were like these really intense levels made, and teams of three versus three would go up against each other and try to beat their levels as quick as possible. I think that didn't exist quite in the same way with Super Mario Maker 2 that it did in the first one, and those were always like really exciting, cool moments to witness whenever that rolled around. So yeah, I think the community was definitely stronger around that first game, and the controls were just so much better built into the console itself that, yeah, I think that's why it stood out to me over the second one at least.
You know what, Chuy? In terms of ranking, I'm going to bundle them together because I kind of feel like they are basically one and the same
That's
game.
That's ridiculous! No! You can't just do that! No, it is ridiculous. They are two totally different games.
When you see how many have tied, Pete, there is no way we're getting a top 10 list. We have currently 6 games tied.
For how many points?
So we've got 3 games tied with 1 point. We've got
They're not making the list.
3 points.
1 point? Who cares?
We've got 3 games tied with 6 points, 2 games tied with 7 points, 2 games tied with 9 points.
No, we gotta just vote on tiebreakers then quickly.
All right, okay.
I'm not bundling games to
see,
cheat.
we'll see.
Otherwise, the triad of Mario Party games should be listed. It's like, that's nothing. That's nothing. We can't do that. I already let you get away with the Super Mario DS. That was already bullshit. Okay, last game on my list, Super Mario World or Super Mario Advance 2, if that floats your boat. Super Mario World is probably in my top 5 games of all time. I think if I had to, I remember a trend on social media a while ago that was like, if you had to list a number of games for someone to understand your taste, right? And this was one of the games that I chose. Super Mario World is my favorite for so many reasons. I think it's the best of the, OG. I think it's the best 2D Mario, period. Obviously, it's number 1. But of that original 4, I think it's the one where they really finally kind of like nailed down the formula, and like iterated on it. Because like, again, between 1 and 2 and 3, there's so many differences, and it feels like World is really where it kind of all finally coalesced. I think it has the best soundtrack. We were talking about how great its soundtrack was earlier. There's a lot of pieces in that are some of my favorite Mario tunes. Introduction of Yoshi, obviously that added a whole other dynamic to the game. And I remember with my copy of Super Mario Advance 2, like how obsessed I got with like searching for the different colored Yoshis and like figuring out like that, like, oh, if you get this color and then you get this item, like it gets this special power. Like I remember there was like the blue one, I think, or maybe it wasn't the blue one, maybe it was the gold, I don't remember, but you would get the multicolored shell and then it could fly, and I was like, oh my god, that like changes the whole way you can explore levels. And like, the cape is like my favorite Mario power up. And, like, I think of the art of that game, and, like, that's my favorite visual style for Mario, both in the 16-bit look, but also just, like, the art of that time, which had, like, a more, like, comic kind of style. It was a little flatter. It still had, like, a hand-drawn feel to it. Like, that's my icon on my Switch, is, like, that era Mario. It's the modern version, but it's inspired by that era of design. So, yeah, for me, it's just, like, gameplay, aesthetic, it really, I think, nails everything that I want in a 2D Mario, and I don't think that there's a game that comes close for my money of doing it quite as well. I could entertain the argument that Mario 3 does the same thing, and some folks like that better. That's cool. I respect that. But for me, World is the one to beat, and it's a game, again, just a game that, like, I had such a relationship with as a kid, and go back to it regularly. I remember when it first came to the Switch, like I beat it again over the course of a weekend just because, I wanted to just go back and re-experience it. And I think every time I play it, I'm surprised by how well it holds up. I think all these years later, it's still one of the best platformers ever made.
Yeah, it's solid.
So my number 1, I think, probably as obvious, is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I love Mario Kart, and I think this is just definitively the best Mario Kart. Against this, prior to this, I think probably Mario Kart Wii would have been my favorite one.
That makes sense.
And now they're adding Coconut Mal to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
All you needed.
Mario Kart Wii. It's all I need. It's it's just complete for me. It's now the complete package. But it's great, and I loved the fact that if you bought the deluxe version, you didn't have to bother to unlock any of the stuff. It was just there. It was just like, what a treat. I can just go in and I can just play, and I don't have to suffer through the single player, because all I want to do is just go and play all of these cool courses online with my friends. It's just awesome. It really is, and it's a classic, and it's the epitome of the genre. It really is just the best kart racer, and I don't think anything's ever going to top it in terms of doing what it does best.
I bet they surprise us with like one last bonus, like Grand Prix, 4 courses to put it up to 100. They have to.
That would be cool, yeah.
That would be cool. Love that.
All right, my last one the only 3D Mario to make my list. Because, like I said, I try to get as much of a variety as possible. Things that gave you something different. Super Mario Odyssey.
Wow.
I think I've mentioned going back to all of the different 3D Mario games and just realizing 100% this is the best 3D Mario game. I don't I'm sure I have nostalgia from some of the other ones that I've played, right? But like going back to them, I was just like, man, Mario Odyssey is better in
It
every
really
single
just
way.
is better.
It's just better. It controls better. The camera's better. The worlds are better. It's the prettiest. It's just like every Mario has led up to just this one. It's just the ultimate 3D Mario game. The music is just good in
Oh my
every
god, I totally
single
forgot
way.
about even mentioning the music. It's just the
It's
best.
time to jump up, superstar.
Yeah, just oh man, there's songs in there. The ending song, incredibly surprising. I was just like, yes, this is so good. Every power that you get is so well built around each of the worlds too. They really played with the Cappy mechanic so well
Oh
and
yeah.
made it something that I was initially like, oh yeah, I guess that's cool. You can take over stuff, kind of Kirby-ish, but just the way that it's implemented into the worlds and the gameplay is just so solid.
I think the biggest thing I can say about that game, right, is I don't feel like anybody ever talks about Cappy as that game's quote unquote gimmick, right? Because like it doesn't feel like a gimmick. It's just like,
Mhm.
Yeah, in the same way that Flood does feel like a gimmick.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
And I feel like Cappy feels so much more natural.
Yeah. And it I don't know. I guess like Flood's a character to some extent. Like you get some dialogue from it and stuff. But like Cappy just like
Flood's a character in as much as the Ring Con is a character in Ring Fit Adventure. Like, yeah, it talks to you, but
yeah.
you're not really there for it. You're
It's
just
kind of fucking weird how much voice acting is in Mario Sunshine. Can we acknowledge that? Like,
It's so
it's
weird.
really fucking weird. Like,
Yeah.
oh.
But yeah, like Cappy just feels like just an endearing character throughout the thing. You're like on this journey together. It feels like you've partnered up. It's good.
All
Yeah.
right. All right, Steve. So you've been tallying as we go. Where are
so
we
we're
at?
gonna
Legend.
have to go 1 to 10 because we're gonna have some conflicts. I can't do them reverse.
That's fine. That's
unfortunately.
fine. We'll do that, and we'll
So-
name our list here, and we'll wrap it up for the day. I know we're going long on
Okay.
this one.
So number 1 is Super Mario Odyssey with 27 points. in
Surprising no
total.
one. The only game in all of our top threes.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with 24 points is number 2.
Again, rock solid. I'm happy with that to be number 2. That's fine.
Super Mario World comes in with 17 points for number 3.
Put that one right up on my back. You're welcome, everybody. I had to get at least one 2D Mario game on this fucking list.
Well, I mean, Mario 3D World is technically ish.
It's not. It's 2.5.
So Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury with 11 points is number 4. Now we have a tie. So what do we want to do with ties? Do you want to vote on which one gets it? Do you want to put both of them in the slot?
I mean, we could just put all of them in. I think that's okay. But then we're getting way past the top 10, right? How many ties are there from here down?
Yeah, what's
1,
tied?
2, 3, 4.
4 ties?
4 ties, yeah.
For fifth?
No, for fifth, there's 2 games for 5th place.
Well, I think, if they're tied, we probably vote which one's fifth and then the other one's
Becomes
fourth,
sixth.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
which one's 5th between Mario Party Superstars and Mario Maker?
Mario Party Superstars.
Superstar.
Not having a Mario Party game in the top 5 is insane, in my
Okay,
opinion.
Mario Party Superstars comes in at number 5 with 9 points.
Okay.
Then Mario Maker comes in at 6th with 9 points.
Okay.
Then we've got a tie again. Mario 64 with 8 points and Mario Party 2 with 8 points.
I would say we do 64 and just bump the other Mario Party since we have a Mario Party rep.
It's not my Mario Party, it's your Mario Party. If you're happy to bump it, then that's fine.
I
That's
think
your one.
Yeah, I think that's what we do personally.
Okay, so Mario
I'd rather have
64.
variety on the list. I'm comfortable saying Superstars as our Mario Party representation.
Okay, then that's fine because we've got another tie with Mario Party in a minute, so that makes that easier. So then Mario Party 3 has been bumped. So number 8 is Super Mario Brothers Deluxe.
Hell yes! How did this end up so high? I love it. I can't believe that I'm the only one who voted on that game.
Then number 9 is Super Mario Sunshine.
Okay.
Oh no, this is a tie. So this is a 3-way tie that we need to figure out.
Oh, one of these games is getting bumped. Okay.
Not even top 10.
All right. So what are the 3?
It is Super Mario Sunshine.
Okay.
Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Now, personally, I think it should be Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle because it's on all 3 of our lists. No, it wasn't on your list.
It wasn't on my list.
But it's the one that all 3 of us have agreed is a good game and have all played.
And what were the other one? It was that, Sunshine, and then what was the third one?
Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, I've never played that one. So I'd be comfortable.
I'd be fine with Rabbids.
Okay. So do we want to say
So Rabbids is 9, and then we've got to vote between the other 2 for 10.
I'd say Sunshine because I
Sunshine
played
or
it.
Thousand Year Door.
I don't think Sunshine belongs in the top 10, but I can in good conscience vote for a game that I've never
played. I kind of think Paper Mario too, just because you've played a Paper Mario. We don't have one on the list. People think it's the best one.
I put
just bumped
Paper Mario as my number 9, so yeah, I'm good with that. Let's do it.
Okay. Paper Mario.
Let's
do it.
Fucking A.
It's number 10.
All right, so that makes the final list. At number 10, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. At number 9, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. At number 8, Super Mario Brothers Deluxe. At number 7, Super Mario 64. At number 6, Super Mario Maker. At number 5, Mario Party Superstars. At number 4, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. At number 3, Super Mario World. And at number 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And then our reigning champion, the best Mario game of all time, Super Mario Odyssey.
I'm happy with that list, you know.
Honestly,
when we were coming up with it, I thought it was going to be a whole mess.
It turned out way better than I expected. There's 2 2D Marios on here. I feel like that should be a little higher, but I'm good with that. It's 2 that are great, and I'm happy.
That's still 20% of the list
of a top 10 that includes every Mario spinoff. Yeah, that's pretty fucking good. Yeah, I think that's great, actually. Technically, Deluxe is a twofer because it's Mario and Lost Levels, so it's you got pretty good representation there.
And you've only got 2. You've only got 2 full 3D games on here. You've got 64 and Odyssey.
Yeah,
I guess 3D World technically is.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a third thing. So yeah, I love that. I think that's really good. Mario Maker I guess is 2D as well, but that's also its own thing. I like the diversity on this list. I feel like we have good representation across the Mario spectrum. Really, the only thing that's missing is no Mario sports title anywhere in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, how many did you put on there? Hoops, and then I put golf.
I didn't even put hoops.
Or did you even put hoops?
No, I think you were the only one who voted for one with golf.
Yeah, you're the only one that put a sports one in.
Yeah.
I think when you try and construct a list of the 10 top games, if you weren't going for diversity like Chuy was,
I considered that in my list, but I didn't disqualify games I liked more in favor of that. You know what I mean? I had that in mind where I was like, oh, okay, like in my original list, I was I had Galaxy and Galaxy 2, and I was like, I'm only going to do one, right? We don't need both of those. That's too similar. Land 2. Okay. Yeah, it's whatever. Just pick one. But yeah, I'm
Otherwise,
pleased
my
with
list
this.
would have just been all Mario Party.
Yeah,
my
right.
favorite.
That would have been really disruptive.
Number 10, Mario Party 10. Number 9, Mario Party 9.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, thank you again, everybody, for joining us here on what is now the longest episode of Nintendo Noise of all time. Did I think it would be this long? No. Was I naive in thinking that it wouldn't be this long? Yes, we were. We're out here like, yeah, this should be enough for a show, right? Yeah, we'll talk about 30 individual Mario games almost because we had so little crossover on this damn list. But, I think all that speaks to is the breadth and quality that you can find with the Mario franchise. So I hope on this Mario Day that you celebrate, go and play your favorite Mario game. Make sure you write into us and tell us what your favorite Mario game is. Or if you disagree with our list, if you think our list is brilliant, we want to hear from you. Write in. There's a bunch of ways you can do that. Remember, you can head over to flipscreen.games to find links to all of the ways that you can write in and be a part of the show. You can write into us at questions@flipscreen.games. You can come join our Discord where we've got a fun, inclusive community of gamers just like you, chatting, keeping the conversation rolling after the episode ends. All kinds of good stuff. Bunch of ways that you can get involved and show your support. Remember to give us a like, a share, a subscribe, wherever you find the show. Give us a positive rating and let people know that we're out here making a program that you enjoy. It is the easiest and freest way that you can help us grow the show and the channels. So please do that and come check out all the other cool places that we're making content. Twitch, all those good stuff. Head over to flipscreen.games. Show your support on the Patreon. All that good stuff. Anyway, that's it. That's the show. It's over now. For this week's Nintendo Noise, I've been Pete. He's been Chuy. He's been Steve. We'll see you next week. Woohoo! Can't believe it took to the end of the show to do a Mario voice, huh?
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's allowed to do it, though, right? It would be racist if either of you did it, so it's okay.